I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Which is the first commandment of all?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might, and with all thy strength. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Master, thou hast said the truth. There is one God, and none other but He. And to love Him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all the whole burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Thou art not far from the kingdom of God.
Hey, hey.
What's up, brother?
Honor to meet
Welcome,
you, man. Harry
Absolutely.
Mack. Pleasure.
Harry Mack.
Yes, sir.
Harry
Yes,
Mack
sir.
in the building.
Joy to be here with you. My name's Harry Mack.
Harry Mack.
How we feeling?
Good name, man. Listen.
Oh, thank you.
We are ready.
Beautiful.
We are very ready.
Man, well,
Excited to talk to you, man.
yes, sir.
Excited to talk to you.
Well, I'm honored to be sitting here talking to both of you guys, man. This is super dope. I'm gonna do a freestyle rap for you guys. So,
Love that, Harry Mack.
yes, so.
This is the man that can judge you.
I already know. I'm sitting here with a legend, man. Two legends, but a legend in hip hop as well. So I don't have anything pre-memorized or prepared or pre-planned in advance. I'm going to improvise off the top of the dome.
Love that.
So can I get like some random words or topics or suggestions from you guys?
Words or topics.
Things to incorporate into the freestyle.
Money.
Money, yes.
Miami.
Miami. Beautiful. Let's get 2 or 3 from each of you, maybe. So I can test my memory.
Friendship.
Money, Miami, friendship.
Ass.
Ass. Can we do that? We good with that? Ass. Yeah. All right.
So you need more than 4?
Let's get 6. We'll get 2 more. Yeah.
Horses.
Horses. There we go. Yes. Horses. One more.
And falafel.
Falafel. Yes. I love it. All right. Let me review. Don't remind me unless I ask because I got to make sure I got to memorize here.
Yes.
We're going to go with money.
Miami.
Friendship. Ass. Horses. And falafel. Those are the words?
Yes. Yeah,
Should we try this?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to pull a beat up here real quick so we can make this happen.
All
right. Let's see what we got.
Okay. Just pull a random beat.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get this coming out of my speaker, though. Hold on.
You keep it down there. That sounds like about 90 BPMs. You're down in there.
Yeah.
Something so you can find it.
Something comfortable. Yeah. You already know.
Once you're up at 99, 100, you start,
Yes.
You have to double time it at that point.
Exactly. We're not going into Big Daddy Kane territory yet.
Harry Mack, what you got?
Yeah. Living in LA where every day is sunny. When I'm spitting, I be stacking up the money. Y'all know we got the paper, we keep it in the stash. I'm getting the money, getting the green, getting the cash. Yeah, I said we never sell our soul, I truly meant that.
Yeah.
We about to get the money, reinvest, and then we spend that. We building up the finance. If they step to me, they don't even stand a slight chance. Check the way that I maneuver, though. We got a lot of my freestyle sound hotter. Trying to get more money so I can cop the fly Pradas. H-Mag, y'all know we get into the new loot. I'm trying to look something like Will Smith in the blue suit. We really about to take it there, making people feel this. When they become a deliverance right off of the mental, they know I'm the realest. Hey yo, I grip the mic, deliver all these damn frees. Matter of fact, they feel me from LA out to Miami. Anywhere we at, man, my flow's in reach. I said I'm about to take these lyrics out to Miami Beach. I said anywhere we at, y'all know that we deliver. Welcome to Miami, yo, that jam sounds sicker. H-Mac, I'm about to break it down, I'm giving them props. 50 years of hip hop, we make them listen, it's hot. I be doing what I'm feeling, and y'all know that they can't end this. Ride or die, me and this beat, we form a friendship. Yeah, y'all know we stay connected like best friends. They about to feel these lyrics from the east to the west end. Anywhere we at, we connected like family. Cause when I be spitting right up at the mental, I'm bringing y'all that insanity. I got these rappers panicky, they knowin' the deal. I'm never faking when creating, I'll be flowing for real. I said, we getting cash and I be on the task. I got people straight up dancing, got you shaking your ass. Next level, I'ma kill the game truly. When I spit, man, I got them all shaking they booty. I turn into a movie, I do me. Y'all know they want me to spit strong freeze and have the people shaking they donkey. I be going beyond. My freestyle's gorgeous, so fresh with it, the cameras gotta record this. Yeah, hey yo, I'm riding up on them horses. Wait, then again, ride or die, we pulling up in Porsches. Yeah, when I spit, they know the rhymes I'm repping. I might pull up in the horse, that's a 911. Yeah, Mac, I make it known. I turn rappers to more cowards, pulling up in the 911, plenty horsepower. Yeah, y'all know that my freestyles are colossal. By comparison, my competition all be sounding awful. Just to come through with these hot flows, it should probably be unlawful. And I'm eating up these beats kinda like they a falafel. Yeah, I know we coming off at the top. When it come to freestyles, man, the Mac don't stop. I'm really out here doing this. They know the flow is too legit. When rhyming in alignment, I'm shining just like your crucifix. Yeah, more territory I'm exploring. Live connected with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Y'all know I kill it proudly. They know all about me, man. I'm here to save the day like Marcus and Mike Lowry. Check the way we do it, dog. I rock the style, the hottest child. I'm like albino crocodile. How I'm snapping on my haters. When I'm rapping, it be major. I'm more royal, sir. Wait, hold up. I hope that's not a spoiler. I'ma keep it in motion. I'm killing it truly. I bubble like jacuzzi. I was blessed to see that movie. Bad Boys 4's coming. Y'all know we get live. And by the way, can I get a cameo in Bad Boys 5? Let's go. Hey. Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hey, thank you. Coming from you.
Yo, gadgies. Good to see you. Yeah, it's a pity you couldn't stay, Canal. I know you're working, man, because like tonight, it's all, I don't like Prince Lee. I hated him as a boxer, but I just didn't like him. He was an excellent boxer, but I just didn't like him. So we've got two of his bouts tonight, which is when he won his title in 95 and when he lost it to Barrera in 2001. You know, and that was his only ever defeat. He had one fight after that, which he got unanimous decision after 12 rounds, and then he bailed. He retired. He retired after one defeat. It's kind of strange. But yeah, we've got the movie that shows his life story, so that'll be interesting. It might help me change my mind on him. I didn't like him, so yeah, we'll see. Yeah, the background is just to do with ancient civilizations and boxing, obviously. It's meant to be a bit funny kind of thing. But there we go. Yeah, we're all caught up with Jim. You know, I've got nothing showing Jim. So, yeah, we can get straight into it because this video got to an hour long as well. It's another 100 Gold Heretic. He's talking to a guy called, Jay something. What's his name? Let's get the video up and then I'll be able to tell you. Jay something. But I think he's going on about probably like lost technology, ancient technology being better than ours, which is a possibility, I do admit, because of the Watcher Angels and stuff like that. His name is, he's got a channel called Project Unity, and his name's Jay Anderson. So the link is, let me actually click that to go to his channel. Right, so he's got on his channel, wow, he's got like 144,000. It's called Project Unity. I'll show you first. So this is a guy Andrew Gold that we're talking to. I don't know him. I don't think I've ever heard of him. So yeah, he's been on YouTube since 2010, longer than me. 144,000. Connections, curious minds. That's all he's kind of got to say. Connecting curious minds. That's it for his bio. Depth inside ancient. So he seems like he likes to look at ancient kind of stuff. He's looked at the Epstein stuff as well. Okay, I mean, I'll put his link in for you guys. Just in case you want to sub. I might sub to him just in case. You know what I mean? He comes up with anything good, so I've subbed to him like that. There's the link. Share channel. Copy. There's a link just in case. But yeah, he's talking to Andrew Gold anyway. So it's Andrew Gold's channel. We'll look at the same guys we were watching yesterday, Andrew Gold. But this one, here we go. So, yeah, what archaeologists won't tell you about ancient civilizations. That's what he's called it, as you can see at the bottom. What archaeologists won't tell you about ancient civilizations. And in his description, it says, J. Anderson from Project Unity, blow the lid off hidden ancient history and up to 4% on gold. J reveals evidence of lost advanced civilizations, Atlantis, megalithic, should be megalithic, is it not? Mysteries, and why mainstream history is hiding the truth. See, I do believe in some kind of ancient technologies without a doubt because the Watchers and that, but you know, when it comes to this, like their UFOs and you know, and they had lasers and that all over the place. I just don't know. Some of it I believe, and some of it I just think it's far-fetched. Hey Roger, how you doing, man? Good to see you. So let's just get on with it and see what he's got to say, because I certainly believe that the ancient technologies might have been different from ours, but more advanced to a certain degree. You know, we had these Watcher angels that taught men things that they shouldn't have been taught. So is it a possibility that we've had that technology and lost it? Well, you know, Tom, what's his name? Tim Pettit, the astronaut, you know I'm on about. He says it's quite easily to lose technology. Like, you know, and it's a painful process to get it back, guys, you know. Good to see you. How's the car, Roger? How's the car? Anyway, let's continue. Well, let's start. 1 hour and 7, so we better get going. Because we've got 2 boxing matches too. Hopefully we'll get this done in 2 hours. You know, it's 8:15 for me now. Let's just get going. Don Pettit, that's the one, Roger. Thank you.
The further you go back in time, the more advanced the engineering becomes. It's actually contradictory to the level of development they should have had.
So this is a world that is very different for me to get into. And I'm really intrigued.
It's a lost civilization, pre our own experience of written history.
What is an example of something where it's like, this is pretty concrete?
Fascinating anomalies through history that create a question mark. There's no developmental trail. There's no prototypes. It's just this incredibly advanced piece of technology. This freaks me out.
And what are some of the theories as to why that cutoff point might emerge?
Wow, another secret bit of the history. There are tribes that are living exactly how we were living, like, 5,000, 4,000 years ago. I think it would be...
There's tribes living like we were living 4,000, 5,000 years ago. Yeah, well, I mean, that's about as far back as you've got to get it. Another 1,000 and a bit, maybe 2,000 after that. And then you've got God creating everything, man. You know? So, yeah, let's see what he's got to say anyway, because I do believe that there could be ancient technologies. All right, are they going to go into... Let's wait and see.
Rational to say that the model that we have for history is the right model.
Oh, you just got up, bro. You must have been streaming late, were you? Nice.
Not.
Can you do me a favor? If you get value from these conversations, hit subscribe. Jay Anderson, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
What is Project Unity?
Project Unity is the title actually means like a symbiosis between spirit and science, like these two elements of
it's a unity between spirit and science. Okay, let's see.
Let's see, 2 ways of observing reality.
I don't know how you can, fathom spirituality through science, because it's natural phenomena, And spirituality is not a natural thing, it's a supernatural thing. So I don't know how science and spirituality goes together. I don't know.
Connected in ways that we don't fully understand. So that's kind of like the premise of my entire research journey, really, is like the world's mysteries. And
Oh, you're heading to
finding-
what now, Roger? Okay, bro. Okay, bro. Have a nice night, dude. Thanks for popping in, man.
connections between modern science and ancient mysticism.
Link's
So
there,
this-
friend. He wants to pop in. Well, we'll be in YouTube at least 2 hours, I think, by the looks of it, because this is an hour and 7 minutes long. So we're certainly going to be in YouTube for 2 hours anyway.
The world that is very different for me to get into, and I'm really intrigued, and I love these ideas. So
Okay,
some
Roger.
people in the audience will be familiar with this stuff, and some won't.
You'll be listening. Well, open your eyes then.
So it's the first time for a lot of people. But the ancient civilization stuff, the Graham Hancock stuff, is the same kind of. Is that the kind of
Graham Hancock,
ballpark
heard of
where
him?
it was things you cover?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested in.
I take it Graham Hancock's an archaeologist. I'm only messing about, Roger. Open your eyes and you'll be able to hear me better. You know? Unplug your ears and you can see.
The overall idea that there's a lost civilization or a lost civilizations of like an ancient time pre our
I
own.
mean, it's a possibility. It is a possibility. I mean, but the thing is the evidence. It's the evidence, you know. It's okay, like surmising these things, and I know there's some evidence to certain lost civilizations and that. But when it comes to Atlantis and all that kind of thing, it's a possibility. I agree. I mean, there was a flood. Places were buried and drowned, and submerged underwater. So it's a possibility. Obviously, it's just whether the evidence is there.
Own experience of written history, which does seem to be the case when you look at the most ancient elements of our history going into the Stone Age and the Neolithic Age. This is where you find
The what age? The Stone Age. Oogie boogies and all that, going about clubbing women over the head and dragging them to the cave with their hair. And, you know, yes, we hunted and we gathered, but not in a Stone Age narrative that they put out there. It's silly. It's silly. It's a part of evolution if you're talking about Stone Age people and stuff.
an incredible amount of advancement, advanced engineering, multi-ton stone lifting, alignment with the sun and the moon, the lunar solstice and the equinox. You know, there's a lot of
Friggin'
advanced
Wilma.
knowledge packaged into very ancient
Well, man, have a do time. We'll have a gay old time.
times where it's actually contradictory to the level of development they should have had if we're listening to our own historical models, kind of emerging out of very primal nature. And then suddenly you're able to erect these incredible structures before you've even invented agriculture. So it kind of speaks to lost chapters of human history.
Before you've invented agriculture, there was agriculture from the start. You know, God made plants with that came after their kind, that give seeds after their kind. Agriculture was there at the start. I mean, there was a garden in the beginning. I'm sure agriculture was there at the start.
And that's what really interests me.
That's interesting. And so I gather that there are some aspects where even you would go like, well, maybe that's a thing. And then some that are more concrete. So if you had to describe to a mate of yours in the pub, first time hearing about this, like what is an example of something where it's like, this is pretty concrete?
Yeah, man, like the alternative world on this stuff, like anything with alternative perspectives, is a bit of a spaghetti junction. You know, there's all sorts of alternative perspectives that might not really have.
I like how we say we invented agriculture. Aye. It was there in the beginning. God made a big old garden and he said, there's this plant, there's this fruit, and they produce seeds after their kind. And then you plant them and you till the ground, you know, you prepare the ground whatever season it is. You then, from the fruit that you've eaten and you've had seeds off of, you plant the seeds. So we have food again for next year. Agriculture has been there from the start. That it's pretty much one of the first things that men would have probably had to do in the garden. You know? Probably.
much merit to them. So yeah, it's navigating what actually makes sense based on evidence. But yeah, I mean, there's some
Well,
fascinating.
I don't know if he's an idiot, Roger, because he's going to go on about technology, you know, from back in the day, which is a possibility when we see these buildings and that. I don't say it's a fact, but it's a possibility there was more advanced kind of tools and stuff like that and weapons. It's a possibility, you know that. Yeah, we invented a long time ago. Exactly. We invented. I think it was God who gave us the ability and the things and the tool and the means and the know-how to do these things. Agriculture. I mean, that's their term for it. Agriculture. Scientific. It's meant to be a science. The science of farming, basically.
Anomalies through history that create a question mark. A good one is the Antikythera mechanism. That's one that a lot of people have heard of.
Antikythera, I mean, that's pretty cool. If I knew exactly what it was for, I'd be more convinced, but it is very cool. I do like to hear things about the Antikythera mechanism.
If you haven't, it's kind of considered to be one of the first analog computers.
What?
It comes from ancient Greece.
Andrew Gold's never heard of the Antikythera. Surely he has. He's playing ignorant, surely.
And it was discovered by sponge divers. And it's this incredibly rusted and corroded like component of
sponge divers. You mean there's actually human beings that are made out of sponge? So when they dive, they don't need an air tank because they soak in the water, and the water has got the oxygen in it already. So you get divers that are made out of sponge, guys. I'm joking.
And like cogs and systems. They've done X-rays and all sorts of scans on, and revealed that inside it has a type of gearing method called differential gearing, which wouldn't be invented.
Differential gearing, okay, but that's a terminology you're putting to it without actually knowing for sure what the Antikythera actually does. I mean, it's obviously damaged. It's been, it's gone through a lot of what you call it, iodization. I suppose that's what you call it. It's deteriorated because of. I mean, what did they find again? Was it underwater they found it, or was it elsewhere? I don't know. Maybe it's got like sea salt damage. Maybe it's got rust damage. I don't know. SpongeBob SquarePants, yeah. That's it, man. You just soak up the water and you sink to the bottom, and then you don't get crushed, because you're equal pressure inside now. So you're all good.
Until the European clockmakers about 1500 years later. But there's no developmental trail for the Antikythera mechanism. Like, there's no prototypes we find. It's just this incredibly advanced piece of technology. Literally, it is technically a technology, and they think they used it for divining the kind of like rotation of the solar system and the stars and the moons. It was one of these
rotation of the solar system. You're right. It's the sun that it circuits the Earth and that. But it's not a solar system. It's the Earth system, a geocentric system. That's it. They circuit us. No solar system.
Astronomical clocks, essentially, but done with a level of precision that isn't reflected in the culture wider in ancient Greece and ancient Rome.
Okay.
So what the idea is, and this is something that I definitely think is true, if you look at today, secret programs, government classified black budget programs, all these kind of, extremely hidden funding elements where they're trying to develop novel technologies. Well, the Roman Empire and the Greek empires were extremely powerful. They had a hierarchy of government. They had scholars, and it's very likely that they had particular, you could say, programs, people working on very interesting novel ideas that weren't part of the actual general developmental curve of the time that you're seeing, but exist. Like, the fact that this kind of computer exists in ancient Greece means that it was capable of being created at a time where it shouldn't be. So you have to explore the why.
It shouldn't be.
And you start looking into
why maybe it is. If it's because of the Watchers teaching men and all that, then obviously it shouldn't have been. But it happened, so to say it shouldn't, I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends on how it came about that they had this technology. If it came about organic, then that's fine. But if it came from where we think it came from, scripturally, then yeah, they weren't meant to be doing that.
All across the world, really, especially in places like Egypt and Peru, the further you go back in time, the more advanced the stonework becomes, the more advanced the engineering becomes, the more advanced the architecture, the alignments become. So knowledge is actually gaining as you go further back and losing as you go further forward, which is very interesting, which again speaks to a potential cutoff point of that knowledge and us having to regain that knowledge over time.
And what are some of the theories as to why that cutoff point might emerge?
The younger tribe.
So this mechanism is so advanced, but they built the Colosseum. Right.
This hypothesis, which is the idea which has been observed in science of extreme rises.
I mean, like I say, I do believe there could be some kind of advanced, I wouldn't call it advanced, I just mean different tools, weapons, or technology, whatever, back then that the Watchers taught men for a certain purpose. But I don't go to the point of like, yeah, it must have been laser precision machines that could have sliced that rock in half just like that, you know? And then, you know, we floated the stone up there. And I do believe that they could have used sound to help move stuff and that. It's a possibility. But to call it advanced, I don't know. Different. Don't know about advanced.
Levels of water across the entire world around the same period of
time. If at all. But we are told that the angels like helped out with weapons and that. They spoke about weapons and things that they shouldn't have been doing, teaching men. In Enoch, I think it's Enoch, it says it.
And this is a hypothesis that, you know, before this, obviously you had the Noah's flood and all these biblical stories, stories around the world of global floods, including the flooding of Atlantis, the fall of Atlantis.
A global flood? What's a global? Guys, can you do me a favor? Can you look up global for me? Global flood? I mean, I thought God did a world flood, like, you know, a flood that covered the whole world. I don't know what a global flood is. It sounds like a global, sounds like a sphere. And how can you flood a sphere? That's weird. Can you find out, guys, what global flood means?
Plato, the great Greek philosopher Plato. And what's very interesting is that his description of the time when Atlantis was supposedly fallen under the ocean and everything was flooded out aligns pretty much on the mark with the Younger Dryas hypothesis of modern science that looks at the rising global sea levels. So we actually have kind of scientific data points now to look back at these antiquated stories and claims.
That's where you pour water on a ball and it sticks. Oh, right. How do you get the water to stick? Do you have to freeze it on the ball? Do you have to freeze the water on the ball so it's just a ball covered in ice? Or do you have to stick some glue down first? Hydrophobic glue that sticks hydro. You know what I'm talking about. Hydrophobic so it can get on there, but then it turns from hydrophobic to actually non-hydrophobic, so it'll stick the water on there. It's either got to be ice or it's stuck on with some kind of magic glue, because water doesn't adhere to a ball and stay on there. Weird. Mad stuff that some people believe in.
About, you know, great destruction and global floods, and we have valid empirical data points that suggest that it was real alongside the mythological stories. Because what's really interesting, to be honest, is the amount of similarity you have across cultures that weren't meant to be connected with stories of great cataclysms and global disruption and destruction. And if you had that kind of theme, if you had that...
I see, that makes sense now. That makes sense. Now, the sticky water was invented around the same time as agriculture. Right. Now it makes sense, bro. I get ya.
Kind of thematic sequencing in any other type of scientific discipline, it would be considered a pattern. But because it's in mythology, it's all just disregarded as stories and mythos and legends.
I agree. I agree there that some mythology may come from truth. Obviously, it's kind of embellished on, but yeah, I do. I agree with him that some mythology could stem from truth. Not all of it, but some. You mean the Bible might be true? Nobody would have ever thought that. Surely, Roger. I thought it was a story for like bedtime and that to make you feel good, help you to go to sleep. So it's actually true? Wow. Amazing. Amazing. That means there's a sky daddy and everything. Way. Nice.
Legends match up and then can be correlated to something that science is observing, a rise in global sea levels. You have to start putting these pieces of the puzzle together, right?
So, but wouldn't we have seen this city underwater somewhere or seen bits of it?
Depends, man. It depends how heavily.
Well, exactly. It does depend. Have you seen how much water there is out there covering the whole earth? Not the whole globe, the whole earth. There's deep parts that nobody's ever been to. It's so many, like they say, obviously there's no such thing as space, but the statistics are that there's been more of like, you know, what they've done more discovering of like the moon and space and that than they have of the sea, you know? But obviously that's not true because heliocentrism is bull crap. But yeah, I mean, the sea's hardly discovered at all. I mean, it's a big old place and it's very, very deep in some parts. So it's a possibility that there's a sunken city. I don't know. I mean, called Atlantis, or this mythological city they call Atlantis. It's a possibility. I don't know for sure. I doubt it sometimes, but I'm open to it. Because who knows except the Lord. Level 007.
It was put underneath the crust of the Earth. I mean, we're talking about a potential polar axis shift of the planet. Huge
polar axle shift. Roger, can you explain that to me? How does that work on a stationary level plane? A polar axle shift. How does that work on something that's stationary? Something that has only got one pole. How does that work, bro? Polar axle shift on something that's stationary and level. Strange that one.
Global sea rise, earthquakes, the amount of destruction that
sea rise. The only time the sea rose is when we were flooded, and then when it resided, there's been no rising of sea levels, climate change making the bloody ice caps melting, you know, flooding the whole earth again when it's already bloody displaced.
Just compact down upon these types of sites. So it's possible that somewhere like Atlantis is fully...
I'm sorry, I can't. Fresh out of BS. Fair play. That's a good answer.
Buried under strata and rock and mud. There are potential places that people think might be the point of Atlantis, like the Rickard structure or the Eye of the Sahara, which is a really interesting structure observable from space. And it's like these concentric circles.
It's a structure. It's an actual structure. Okay. But you're not seeing it from space. I mean, you sure that's even a real picture? I mean, I would doubt it. But if it is, that could be something to do with some kind of storm, a swirling storm. I don't know. But to me, I don't know if that's even blooming real. But it's certainly not if it is, it's certainly not taken from space.
Which is a really interesting structure observable from space. And it's like these concentric circles, because Atlantis was explained as concentric.
Well, I think when the waters receded after the flood, we could still be a few hundred or so feet above from other structures. Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, there could be things that are still submerged. Absolutely. I mean, just because when the waters receded, it didn't say they receded back to the same level they were before. It didn't say that. It just said they receded. So look, when a big gush of water comes, especially a worldly flood, the power of that water certainly would change the landscape, you know? it would change the landscape. So when waters receded, waters would have filled in where there was no gaps before, where there's like piled up stone mountains or whatever, then it's going to, displace the water. So yeah, I dare say when it receded, it was a different level, that it was higher than it was before. It didn't say it receded back to the same level. So yeah, there's certainly things that could be submerged. 100%, Derek, I agree.
Circles, a city of concentric circles and islands with water going around them. And Plato gives a pretty detailed description of Atlantis. He describes the geological area, he describes the measurement of it in stadia, the measurement of the Greek time, and describes the fall of it at a time that we place pretty much in alignment with the Younger Dryas hypothesis. So yeah, finding Atlantis is like the big one, right? It's like one of the big ones that's also just laughed off, which, to be fair, most people, you can just laugh them off because they're just using it as a grift. Where is Atlantis? We've got to find Atlantis. But the idea that there was a sea-born civilization, a seafaring civilization that was able to...
Right, there wouldn't be civilization with sea-born. I mean, from sea and, seafaring, yeah, but not sea-born. Not if they're human. What's that, Bazza? I believe we had one large landmass. Then when the floods came, yeah, possibly. When the floods came in, covered everything, and only receded partly, then we have oceans dividing landmass. Yeah, that's no continental drift whatsoever. Exactly. Because like people say, well, look, before the flood, how did these certain animals that lived here, how did they get over there with all that water? Well, because maybe beforehand there was no water covering that part, and they could have walked there. But then after the flood, gaps, valleys, things like that were filled in. Like I say, the landscape the would have been drastically, changed because of the power of water. Certainly, absolutely, Baza. That's a big fact possibility with a PH fact. Fact.
To impact various countries around the world at a time before our own written history is evidenced in the architecture of these places.
Who the hell are you?
To Egypt and
who the hell is Roger?
Roger.
How is it?
Hey PJ, I am heading into work soon, but yeah, I was gonna head hop on it. You notice how he's talking real quick?
Yes,
he's got a lot of character. Yeah, he's got a lot of beliefs. He does, man. But I mean,
he's got a lot of what?
Beliefs. He does. He's got a
beliefs. Yeah. Oh, this guy here. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of what he's saying is garbage, obviously, because he's talking about space and that. But right. I mean, I believe that there could have been different types of, equipment, tools, weaponry that did jobs back then that they can't do now. I'm not saying it's more advanced. It was just what they needed at the time that they were taught from these watchers and that, sort of thing. And it's just changed throughout time, and we don't use that, Or it could have been. I don't believe it's this advanced technology like super duper laser cutting stuff in that. I don't believe it was that.
I'm just waiting for the alien part.
Yeah, well, it won't be long. Well, if you look at, I don't know if it was in his channel or if it was actually in here, but I'm sure it says something about alien UFO connections. Dive into UFO connection. There you go.
He's got it. Yeah. So he's a mainstream archaeologist, isn't right? He probably graduated from a college somewhere, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, so Baz, I know I would agree with that last comment you put in, Baz.
Yeah, I like that one. I think that the fountains broke up the lands when they...
That too. Water's gushing it up. Water's coming down. It's a lot of water. I mean, rock would get pulverized in some cases,
Yeah.
And it's bound to change this. I keep saying landscape. Is that the right word?
Yeah, it works.
That works. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it drastically changes the landscape.
And it had to be like quick, right, PJ? It had to be like instantly, like.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it continued to rain for a little while, but when it first started, it was bang, bang, bang. Of course, absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
People were panicking like, "Oh, I'll get it," you know.
Listen, Noah, listen. Listen.
Many places where you find the exact same type of megalithic stone structure building, megalithic meaning large stone blocks, multi-tons, 10 tons, 50 tons, 100 tons. And without going off on a big diatribe, that's another thing that's extremely interesting is just the tonnage, the level of the size and scale of some of these structures.
Very interesting. But then, you know, Bible says there was giants. There was Nephilim, there were giants. So that can't explain it. I mean, could they have moved stuff about with sound? It's a possibility. Possibility. But I certainly believe giants have a big thing to do with it, you know.
Yeah, well, even the stone structures they find are like proof there was no Big Bang. If you actually start examining the
Right, absolutely, bro.
Dr. Ryan, he's really good at this one.
Ryan, as in
our Cookie.
I don't see him much. He popped into my stream the other day, but I never noticed till later when we went to Rumble. It was because he was in the backup channel. I never seen him, so you know, I didn't even say hello to him. So he might have thought of it being funny. Oh, right. If you get, all right, I was going to say, if you by any chance get, I've had a few messages from Jaden. I've messaged him back. I said I've got to message him back again, but I can't at the minute because my phone's in the shop. So if you get a phone call by any chance, let him know that I'm not ignoring him. It's just my phone's in the shop and I'm using my old one and it hasn't got there. The app's completely different on that. It doesn't work on that. So I have to wait to get my other phone just in case he phoned you.
Yeah.
I'll try emailing his mom as well, though.
He hasn't tried to phone me in at least like 3 or 4 weeks, so I don't know.
Sometimes, though, right, once you get into your sentence, sometimes you stop corresponding as much as you did at the start because it's easier just to get on with it. Because when you keep talking to people, it's on the out, it's like a long, I wish I was there. Yeah, I wish I was at that taxi. You know, that type of thing. So I know what it was like with me. To start off with, I was always on the phone. I was always writing letters, but it fizzled out. It didn't fizzle completely out. It was just, I wanted to get on with it. And you just start doing other things, going to the gym, do your chapel, do your work, you know, you get tired, you read a book, you go to sleep, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I put it down because at one point I was like phoning home like every 2 days or something. It got to a point where I was just doing it once a month, twice a month at the most. You know?
I hear you. Yeah, repetitivity kind of thing. But yeah, this is one thing about like geology, or what would you call it? I guess it's geology. Yeah, archaeology, and like even the other sciences, so-called sciences, they leave this 4th thing out, which is biblical because they don't want to look at it like the floods would actually cause the separation of the lands. Let's see, there's Michelson Morley did not include a 4th hypothesis of a stationary Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. They leave it out. They don't want that to be.
And you're right there because like all these so-called scientists and all that, archaeologists, historians, evolutionists and all that, they can see the sense in what the flood could have done. And they can see the total sense in the flood. They could see that say the Grand Canyon could have been caused by the flood and all that. They see it. And it must be called this because they see it without a doubt, but they deny it. You know. You're right. Are you whispering?
Yes, I am. Well, I got to get ready to go.
All right, bro. Nice one for popping on. Talk to you in a little bit, man. Bless you.
Later.
Ta-da.
Later.
At a time where it really shouldn't have been possible to do that. And I've got some good examples that I'll rattle off, but I'll let you jump in for a minute.
Yeah, okay. This is really intriguing, and I think like it feels like a lot of it's speculative, isn't it? A lot of this is like this.
So is archaeology. Like mainstream archaeology is just putting together a shattered puzzle piece and speculating on the story. So we're all speculating whether it's alternative or mainstream. I don't think even the mainstream would argue with that they're trying to put together a very discarded and broken puzzle. It's just we disagree on some of the connections and shapes that we're putting together, you know?
I don't partner with financial companies lightly because much of the system is based on trust and promises that can disappear. That's why I've partnered with Monetary Metals.
No.
They've built a strong reputation around some.
Thank you.
Even today, we would seriously struggle with, even with our modern machinery. And that kind of thing isn't intuitive. That's a package of information that has to be instructed and given by a specific group of people. It doesn't make sense for this to be intuitively brought up by everyone down to the exact same type of alignments of stone brickwork. And, you know, this is where it gets to a pattern of connecting the dots around the world.
That's a thought. Oh, hold on. You said something else there. Hold on. Didn't see this one. Right. Aye. And they could have been just knocking about the stones. I mean, they were giants, and it claimed that the seed of Abraham had superhuman strength as well granted by God. So who knows? Exactly. I mean, look at Samson. Didn't he have had kind of superhuman strength before the pillars at the end, after he was blind and his hair was cut and all that? He had strength, and his covenant was in his hair, you know? So yeah, there was people that had strength, super duper strength, Superman style, son of Jor-El, Kal-El type stuff. House of El. Absolutely, bro. Superhuman strength as well granted by God. So who knows? Exactly, because Samson had it. Maybe the fallen built it themselves. That's a possibility too. Bro. We just don't know.
So then I guess the implication is that there is a lost civilization, at least one of them.
As soon as I stop finishing, another one come in. Abraham's son said to crush stone to dust with their hand. Yes, that's right. I remember that.
That something would have happened, some serious seismic damage. So they're gone. But while they were there, they gave
seismic damage,
their tech and ideas and advice to other civilizations around the world.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at ancient Egypt, one of their ancient theologies is Zep Tepi, or the first time, and this is the description in ancient Egyptian theology.
The only Zep Tepi I know is on YouTube, and he's an absolute troll. One of the biggest ones.
Of the time when the gods were on Earth with humans and interacting.
Guys, I'm going to grab a scoffy.
With humans. And within this whole theology, the Egyptians basically just say we inherited all of the things that you're attributing to us, and this is actually a learned knowledge from a time long before our own. And Atlantis actually comes from Egypt. So it comes from Plato in his books, the great Greek philosopher, but his great-great-great-grandfather Solon, who was a sacred sage of Greece, very respected lawmaker of Greece, traveled to the ancient Egyptian city of Sais. And he wrote about this, and he spoke to the priests in the temples in the city of Sais, and he wanted to talk about the antiquities. You know, he was a scholar and a historian. And he was essentially laughed at by these priests who said to him that he has no idea, no understanding. You Greek, you Hellenese have no understanding of civilizations. There have been many rises and many falls of civilizations long before your time, long before our time. This is where he was given the story of Atlantis, which he then passes down his family to Plato. And only in the modern time do we dismiss it. But there's a story from one of the apex civilizations, ancient Egypt, that actually speaks of a time, and this isn't, unique to Egypt, Peru as well, where you find these shared megalithic similarities in the construction work and the strange techniques used that almost look like they were maybe manipulating and softening stone because the tools don't make sense for what you're seeing. They share similarities in the theology, that there was a before time, that there was a time when the gods were interacting with humans, whatever you want to call the gods. This can be an interpretation of perhaps an advanced culture. I mean, look at the various cargo cults around the world that appeared during World War II. Uncontacted tribes that were seeing planes flying over, that started building runways and started building and venerating planes because they thought it was the gods. Supplies were coming down for troops and they were landing on islands. This is documented. I can't remember the specific cultures or islands, but it is very documented. And there's some fantastic black and white photos of people who've gone to these islands and they've seen big wooden Spitfires and control towers, and it's because they're venerating them as gods. So the idea can be, you know, seen as, okay, well, are they godlike beings, or is it just a godlike level of intelligence to a simple hunter-gathering civilization that encountered a more advanced one? And there's a lot of evidence for that. I mean, especially like Turkey, with, are you familiar with Göbekli Tepe?
No.
So that's the most ancient megalithic site in the world now, about 11,500 years old.
No.
That actually takes our chronology of structure building back about 5,000 years before the mainstream believed it was possible.
No. How the hell do you know it's 11,500 years old? How do you know that? Even with carbon dating, they say it's only, which is not even accurate. They say it's accurate up to 10,000 years, which is not. But even that, what you're saying there, 1,500 years over that, there's no evidence for 11,500 years. Carbon dating sucks bottom. Carbon dating. Even Roger said it in chat. Yeah, no. So there's no evidence for 11,500 years at all.
All across this region of Turkey, it was considered a hunter-gatherer region. And that's because all
not in an archaeological way, anyway.
Of the evidence was,
and I don't think there's anything recorded.
Hunter-gatherers, you know, that's all they found until they came across
hunter-gatherers. You mean men? Hunter-gatherers. You mean men and women? You mean humans, people?
This incredibly huge megalithic site called Göbekli Tepe, which is still being excavated, although many people would argue that there's been no excavation done at all. It's being slowed down very gradually, and there's some weird involvement with the World Economic Forum, who are funding part of this, and it essentially completely contradicts our history. Göbekli Tepe is now like the flagship to say, you guys got it wrong, because this entire time you've been telling us that ever since like 5,000-6,000 years ago, we're just a bunch of Neolithic hunter-gatherers not doing much with the world. And lo and behold, here is an incredibly complex, multi-ton...
Oh, yeah, we were doing plenty with the world, doing loads, corrupting it to hell.
Site that hasn't been uncovered fully yet, so it could be, you know, much larger than what we already see, with 3D sculptures of animals, and like, you know, the level of engineering and intelligence and knowledge emerging out of the Stone Age. It makes no sense whatsoever. There's no...
That's because you're saying, you're making them dumb people. You're saying, oh, to come out of the Stone Age, this kind of 3D, all this kind of artistic, you know, intelligence coming out of the Stone Age is just impossible. That's because it's your perception of Stone Age. You're kind of making them more inferior. You're making them inferior to us. You're making these Stone Age people inferior to us by calling them Stone Age, and they didn't know any better because they were all hoogie boogie. You know, come on now. I wonder how old my table is. I'll send a sample and it will get dated. It'll probably come back as moon rock. It'll come back as moon rock, bro. 100,000 years old moon rock. Guaranteed.
Precedent for them to have had these types of skills. And so it's very strange because the model of history is so rigid and they're so glacial in their pace to change things.
It's because your perception of those people is skewed to the indoctrination that we got at school and stuff. Stone Age, hoogie boogies and that, you know, after coming from one-celled organisms, from evolution, you know. And then man didn't come in till like, wow, way late. You know, apparently we've only been on the earth, what, 200,000 years? As a type of man, 200,000 years. You know, not that the earth's that old, but if it was billions of years old, we're only just stepping onto it. So stupid.
And there's more evidence that they still argue that hunter-gatherers must have been responsible for Göbekli Tepe. It's like, okay, so this whole region.
You mean farmers, people?
It's just hunter-gatherers. Bam! Suddenly there's this thing that is like, you know, an incredibly complex megalithic, multi-ton, huge structure. Well, we're just going to say it was hunter-gatherers, even though they're in their pre-pottery era. They haven't
farmers. Wow. Or people that work in rural areas.
made pottery yet, but we're going to say that they were coming out of their deer hide tents on their downtime from hunting.
So they were making pottery as well, so they were industrial. That doesn't work with your Blue Stone Age, does it? Look, they just knew what they were doing. It was people. I mean, isn't it mad that, like, I think people are getting more stupid, you know, nowadays because of what's going on in the world. You know, no conversation, stuff like that. Everything's just there, on the screen. You know, we're getting more stupid. Idiocracy is a documentary, like people say. You know, but there he's saying the opposite. Evolution says that we're getting better, we're evolving and getting better, getting more intelligent, and that. I would beg to differ. People are getting dimmer, and it's done intentionally. You know, through Satan. It's because of Satan, but it's done intentionally through things like, you know, fluoride, dumbing us down, and all that kind of stuff. Medications, alcohol, you know, what they put in the air, all that kind of crap. So I would disagree that. Well, I totally disagree with evolution, 100%. You know, but yeah, people ain't getting any more intelligent. It's dumbing down, if anything.
And gathering, you know, like literally just surviving. And managed to create this incredible megalithic structure with 3D carving and all of these different tools that would be required to do it, and then just vanished. And Göbekli Tepe was purposefully buried, which is very interesting. It's like, you know, the level of rubble has been dated, and apparently they truly believe that this was rush buried, as if someone decided.
Derek says the major problem with evolution is that it became a part of the curriculum. Exactly. Its advocates don't care if it's provably false. They fight tooth and nail to keep teaching it to kids. Yes, isn't it a contradiction? Because when I was in school, I was taught evolution at the same time as being taught scripture, God, Jesus, doing the Lord's Prayer. I was told that God created the world, and I was being taught of Big Bang and evolution at the same time. You know, as a kid, that confused us. And I was always more inclined to go the God route. But I thought, even though God did it, because we was being taught of evolution and stuff, he must have done it that way, even though the Bible says he spoke things into existence. You know, there's a lot of cognition in that, even as a kid, when you're being taught both.
No, we're not doing this. And I've got some ideas around that, but it's just as an example of how the mainstream historical narrative has been contradicted really heavily over time, and not much changes in terms of how we teach history. You know, this is a serious problem. It's like having London suddenly just appearing out of nowhere in a time period where
I'm not sure who Oxley Henry is. Is that like an American character?
Shouldn't exist, and we're just going, oh well, I guess the hunter-gatherers built it. It doesn't match. You know what I mean?
You know what's interesting as well, because I think there will be a lot of people listening who are feeling quite skeptical, and I understand that,
understandably.
But then there's, you know, people who watch the show know that the mainstream narrative on science has been absolutely mental just the last few years.
Oh yeah,
they'll know what I'm talking about in particular. But we don't have to go into all.
So you mean a sycophant dude? Okay, got you.
Hear you loud and clear on that one.
Yeah, and so the mainstream on so many, I mean, social issues and all sorts of things is absolutely mental. So why shouldn't that be the case with history? And I also think, I mean, isn't it amazing to think of, even if we're all way off the mark, but there's been like 300,000, 400,000 years of human history.
Exactly.
I wonder what
there you go.
If you could, like,
I said 200,000. He said 300, 400,000 of human history. No, not at all. If you take that, there's no way of proving that. You've got to believe in evolution and Big Bang and all that kind of crap to believe in that. And it goes completely against scripture and the genealogy and how old it says we are.
Way up. Every single...
It doesn't say how old we are, but if you add up genealogy, you take the events into consideration, all that kind of stuff, you really look into it, it takes you to about 7,000 years, 7,000 years.
thing that happened in that time that we don't know about, and you weighed it all up and you put them all in
When
a big.
people ask me how old I think the Earth is, I always say between 7 and 10,000. I give it an extra 3,000 just in case, you know. But I always say between 7 and 10,000, no more than 10.
Line, and you went in a table, and this is the number one most mental thing that happened in those 300,000 years. I bet it would blow our minds.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
What would it be? What happened? I'd just love to know.
Tell you what, about 7,000 years ago, God said something to his Son and the Holy Spirit. You know, he said, let us. And you know, actually, he said, first of all, let there be light. You know, and then there was. And then he said a good few other things after that. And that was about 7,000 years ago. I would say. That's what happened, brother.
Yeah, and also what's really interesting is like there are pockets of time that we seem to ignore, and I think that these are very interesting pockets of time. So before the Younger Dryas of 12,800 years ago, the rise of global sea levels, there was a pretty climatological.
The rise of global sea levels never happened. We're not on a globe, but if we were on a globe, it would be totally impossible for sea levels to completely rise on a globe, to flood the globe. Completely impossible.
Logically stable corridor of time in some very interesting areas, like in South America and Central America.
What's that, Baza? IPG, I think we are somewhere between 6, 7. Yeah, I would say that, but I always say 10,000 just in case, you know, I'm wrong to a certain degree, you know. But I do believe 7,000 years, you know. But I always say between 7 and 10,000. It gives a little space, sort of thing. But I would say 7,000 myself. And I think God's plan ends at 1 week, 7K. Yeah, well, that would make sense, wouldn't it? 7,000 years would make sense, bro. It would make a lot of sense, and you know. And when it comes to scripture, we see how many times God uses the number 7, like in a week, you know. And he actually says the number 7. Jesus says 70 times 7, you know. It's a lot of 7s in scripture, so it would make a lot of sense. 100%, bro. There's a lot of evidence there, you know. 100% is 100% there as well, bro. Absolutely, man. I'm gonna put in. Nobody does these things. 100% way fly. 100% way. Love that. Party celebration. Surprise face. Laugh. Oh, sorry, guys.
Through where you get incredibly complex megalithic work, and up until
we invented the week. Who invented the week? We did. I didn't invent the week. I never invented the week at all. Not at all. But no, I'm saying, but yeah, maybe we might have put 7 days together and called it a week. But God still uses that number 7. And whether you use the word week or 7 days, God still says it in scripture. It still says it in scripture. You know what I mean? But I get you, bro. I get you.
Going backwards in time to like the last glacial maximum about 15,000 years ago, when the ice age was at its peak, as that was warming, as the climate was warming, the snow was melting, things started to stabilize. There was about 5,500, 6,000 years of stability in places like Central America, South America, areas in Egypt as well. And we've gone from a horse and cart to supercomputers
technology
in what, like 150 years? 150 years. So 6,000 years roughly of uninterrupted development, and then a huge rise in global sea levels, the Younger Dryas, the cataclysm, the global flood.
6,000 years and then a flood. No. Getting it mixed up. It's in that 6,000 years the flood happened, absolutely. But, you know, not how you're saying it. And it wasn't a glob. It was not a glob. It was not a global flood.
Whatever you want to define it as, something that science is now recognizing, the fall of Atlantis, whatever. suddenly resets us, takes us back. And then you suddenly see, just after the Younger Dryas, Göbekli Tepe, just after, some suddenly megalithic structures are popping up at times where we were just meant to be hunter-gatherers. So it's like the survivors of something cataclysmic who had a skill set, shared that skill set, but there was only a few of them. There weren't enough of them to rebuild. They're just little scattered bits of evidence of very advanced structures and techniques that shouldn't exist at the time period they do, but would match up if we're looking at enclaves of survivors from an advanced culture.
Is the ultimate theory here then that before some kind of a horrible thing happened in the world, they might have been as advanced as we are now, or more so?
I think that, I mean, my perspective, there's like 100.
See, that's what I'm saying. I mean, obviously the angels themselves would know a lot more than us, but the people themselves, even if they had this mad technology given to them by the angels and stuff like that, it doesn't make them more advanced. It just means they had knowledge that we didn't have at that point. You know, it doesn't make them more advanced. It just meant, I don't know, they had tools for the day. It worked for them. Can we replicate them things? Probably not. But if you did, it would probably take a lot longer than they said theirs did. You know. And again, I would say there was a lot involved, like giants, possibly, like you say, Baza, the fallen ones themselves could be. You know, there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to this. We weren't there. We didn't witness it. We can't say for sure.
Hyper advanced alien, you know, Kardashev scale 3
not alien
civilizations to what I think is more likely is that they were advanced, but in a different developmental avenue to us. Because all the evidence from
that's what I'm saying, not advanced, but in a different developmental avenue. Like you just, the way you put it, absolutely that, but without the advanced part. Just in a different way that we wouldn't understand. I don't think that means advanced, more advanced or inferior to.
Is that there was a veneration of the stars, of nature, of connection to the energies of the world.
There still is veneration of the stars, the energies, the bodies in the sky, sun, moon, idols. There still is a veneration of those things.
Like very natural and holistic. And we've gone down, which isn't really surprising if we're going to look at it through the lens of a post-apocalyptic species surviving through competition, desperation, scarcity, and having to build up again from destruction. Well, we live in a very competitive, violent, aggressive society. So that kind of makes sense, actually, the type of developmental avenue we've gone down. Technology, might is right, power and weaponry, defense is pretty much the main innovator of technology, right? In our world, R&D is pretty much in the military when it comes to breaking through new boundaries. So that's our world. And I just wonder if maybe based on what we see from this ancient past and this veneration to nature, if they were maybe as advanced as us, but in a completely different level, like connected to nature, understanding how, because this is the thing, people roll their eyes and I get it. When you say like, oh, they were connected to the energies, like, you know, the energies of the sun and the moon, it's like, right, okay, but understand that we live in a universe dominated by electromagnetism and hard radiation and all of these different energies. You are in an ocean of energy scientifically. Okay, so when we talk about the idea of using energy or utilizing the solar phases, these are alignments with energetic mediums, bodies, stars, planets, in an energetic soup. So there are consequences to this. We know that the sun produces flares that spike the electromagnetic radiation of our planet. So there are various different ways that you can look at it, including our own planet, the various layers of material that it's made out of, the fact that at the center of our planet, there's a pulsating electromagnetic dynamo. It's
at the center of our what? There's a what? Center of our what? There's a what? A red electromagnetic dynamo pulsating. Sounds like something that you get from the Ann Summers party. Oh, wow. The core of the earth, in the middle of the sphere, that even if we were on a sphere, they've only drilled down what? Just under 8 miles. 12 kilometers, 8 miles, whatever way you want to put it. How the hell can you tell us what's at the very center of that sphere if it was a sphere, which it's not?
Technology on an incredible scale. To some definition of technology, it's a type of technology.
But they weren't sat around playing like electromagnetic PlayStation or something.
No, I don't think so. I think that they were. I think
that's what I'm saying. So it's a different type of developmental technology, like you said earlier, not more advanced. S waves and P waves.
There was much more kind of spiritual, priestly veneration of natural energies and solar phases and lunar phases and whatever this
here
really
we go. Are we going the ether route? Are we?
Means for their cultures, it definitely seems to have been done on a level that's very advanced and speaks to not just a spiritual belief, but an actual scientific exploration. And the reason I say that is mainly because of the acoustic stuff that I've been looking into a lot as well. Because for me, I kind of got into the ancient history side of things from looking at the bleeding edge of modern biophysics and quantum biophysics and acoustics and consciousness studies, because what we're looking at now is the kind of realizations that actually were being echoed by the most ancient mystic practices and traditions in terms of how to influence the mind, influence consciousness, what reality is, how we're connected to it. All of the relatively, if you want to be a scientist, vague mystical statements. Yes, they're vague and they're mystical, but now empirical science is caught up and goes, oh God, they were right. They were actually right. So how were they right? How were they right before Einstein and Tesla and modern science? Well, it speaks to me.
How were they right before Einstein and Tesla? Because they were right before them, because Einstein and, well, Tesla, not so much Tesla, but others were wrong. That's why they were right before them. Because you're giving too much credit to people like Einstein, who talk through their how should I do it politely? Through their asses.
Of intuition and our fundamental connection to reality at a level where we are able to receive information from a deeper basis of reality than we currently understand. And as we in modern science go deeper and deeper into the quantum realm, into these energies, we're starting to go, okay,
the quantum realm, the very small realm. How is it a realm? Like it's a different place? No, that like quantum is just very small. It's not a different place. It's not another realm. It's still here, and it's just there. It's just small. It's not a different realm. It's not like you've got the quantum realm, Earth, and the heavenly places. You know? No. Quantum is just very small. Like his man. Quantum dome. Quantum dome. Nice.
It is an energetic soup of connectivity and information. And so
off the top of the quantum dome
of what were these ancient people doing? Well, so many of these ancient structures seem to be acoustically engineered ritual spaces to get you into very deep meditative states, with sound being one of the influences for getting you into.
Well, that's a problem, isn't it? Getting you into deep meditative states. Not good at all. Very, 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 very new agey.
That state. Again, being echoed by modern studies in science on acoustics and kind of bombarding the brain with specific acoustics and seeing how it changes the frequencies in the brain. So we know we can alter our emotion, our perception, our state of consciousness through acoustic sciences. And we're seeing advanced acoustic sciences in ritualistic spaces in the Neolithic, in the Stone Age. When I was in Malta, one of the most impressive places I've ever been to in my life was the Hypogeum, which is this subterranean, multi-level complex underground that was carved directly out of the bedrock of Malta. And even in the mainstream, they date this to about 5,000 years. So this is like deep in the Neolithic. We're talking...
Matthew sent me eclipse photos. No, Matthew Eastman in WhatsApp. I'm going to show you guys. Nice. I don't know if he's in chat. Is he in PJ Crooker's side? No, he's not. I'm going to text him. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm just going to text him. Nice. Hold on, I'll just talk it. It'll be easier. Let's do it first. Nice, Matthew. Nice. I'm live at the minute on YouTube, dude. I did give you a link. I'm going to show them to the guys now. That looks pretty cool. I'm going to show them now, bro. See you in a bit if you come around. Ta-ta. Much love. All right. Right, cool. Right, let's show these things. Let's show these. Pretty cool, man. That's the fact. I haven't even had a look at any yet. I know that Mike Smith had a video up, but I wasn't watching it, so. And let's have a look at Matthew's stuff. Cool. Let's have a dig. Here we go. All right. Share screen, share the window. Let's get the first one up fast. So we've not got is that the right one? What the heck? It's weird. It's changed now. Oh, that. I share that. Share. There you go. It's one. That's pretty cool. That's one. It's the first one. Nice. Thank you, Matthew. Cool. Coming in from the all right. Next one is that. Oh, is that one's a bit higher? Oh, no, it's just because the way he's photographing it. I wonder what he did it through. I need to ask him. Once we're showing him, I'll ask how he took them. Next one. Ooh. Maybe I've done it backwards. That's the way he sent them. It doesn't matter. I'm not too sure which way it went. Looks like isn't that mad? It looks like the sun is escaping out of a shell. You know, like it's got a crusted shell. It looks like a Chinese fruit lychee. It's cool though. Nice one, Matthew, if you're listening. Yeah, west to east, Roger. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were on about Matthew Eastman. You're on about this, right? Okay, you're on about this the eclipse. I got you. Cool, man. Nice one, Matthew. Loving this. Oh, excellent. I think he's just done this from his phone. I don't think he's used a proper camera or anything. Still good, man. These are cool. Nice. Look at that. Last one. There we go, man. That's cool, isn't it? Right, let's have a quick flick back. Can we do that? Without? Can we do that like that? No, we can't. Oh, we can. You can. You can do that. So there you go. Look. And let's go. Nice one, Matthew. Bless you, man. Cool. Love it. Oh, here he is.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, just showing you pics, man. Cool.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. Thanks for that. We just had a good look at them. So, hold on. I mean, which one's the first one? Is it the order you sent them in? Yeah, is that the first one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yes. So then it goes that. So it goes like So it goes like that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we had a good look, man. What was this just through your phone?
Yeah, that was an iPhone.
That's all right though. I mean, it's still good pics, man, for just being through the phone. It's really good. How long did it take, all in all?
It was longer. It was like much longer than like the solar eclipses that I had seen, and it stayed for probably like 30 minutes.
Nice. I like this one. No, it's this one. This one. It looks like the sun is trying to escape out of a shell.
Yeah.
Like there's a crispy shell over the top of it. Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen the moon do that. I've seen the sun, but not the moon.
Sorry, I said the sun, didn't I? mean the moon. I meant the moon.
Oh,
I said
right.
sun. I just said sun, didn't I? I meant moon. My bad.
Well, it does look like the sun. I mean,
It did actually look like the sun then, yeah. But I should have known it was a lunar eclipse, not a solar eclipse, wasn't it? Yeah, ace, man. Love it. Love it. Look at that color, man. Strange. Isn't that a strange color?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I love it though. Love it. That's excellent. So look at that one closer. See, you can still see the outline, you know?
Oh yeah.
Love it. Nice one for that, man. I'm glad you said it. I noticed that what you call him? Mikey Smith put out a video of the eclipse, but I wasn't watching it. Not from him. So yeah, nice one. Yeah, the sticky water makes the sun move slower around the ball during an eclipse. That's what I thought, Baza. That's what I thought. The hydrophobic, no, not hydrophobic because it's sticky. Opposite hydrophobic. Yeah, the sticky water that sticks to the ball. You use that some mad anti-adhesive that sticks water to the ball. So it's at the same time it's got to stick and be hydrophobic, or else you're knackered. But it was cool. Nice one for that, Matthew. I was so tonight on Rumble, after we've done what we've done here, we've got Prince Naseem's. I don't like Prince Naseem, but because his new movie's out, about his life. No, Prince Naseem Hamid, the boxer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. So we've got the bout we're doing is the bout when he won his world title in '95, which was Steve Robinson, and then when he lost it to Barrera in 2001. And then cool. He retired. He retired after that. Well, he had one more bout after that, which he got unanimous decision and retired. He retired one defeat. And now he's like 20 stone, 22 stone or something, Big. Yeah, really. But we've got his movie as well called Giant. We've got it to watch as well. So it's kind of, even though I didn't like Naseem, I can't deny he was a good boxer, I just didn't like him. Maybe the film will make me think different. Let's see. But good to see you, bro. Good to see you. And thanks for them picks, dude.
Oh, man, forget about it.
Forget about it.
I didn't realize an eclipse last night. I thought it was just a red moon. People talk about a red moon. I was like, so what? But then I looked up. I was like, oh, it's an eclipse.
Oh, it's an eclipse, man. Nice. I like it.
Like antlers and bones to chisel things out and flint. But we've got this incredible, if you look it up, people, HYPOGEUM, Hypogeum, Malta. It's this overlapping kind of geometry.
Hey PJ, what's this guy talking about? I don't have any volume.
You're only allowed to.
Right. He's on Andrew Gold's Heretic podcast, but he's talking about the name of the video is what archaeologists won't tell you about ancient civilizations. He's going on about advanced technology and stuff like that back in the day, back then, as opposed to now. Like I believe that to a certain extent. Like the angels, what's your angels? Taught man a few things that they shouldn't have been taught. But when it comes to they might have had super duper lasers and all that. I don't think it's it. I think it's just the developmental strategies went in a different way. The developmental situations were different to ours. So it's kind of technology we don't use and haven't seen, because we use a different technology or whatever and tools. You know what I'm saying? But but he keeps going on about blooming space and evolution and stuff like that, So, and he's going on about Atlantis, which is a possibility because of the flood. That's a possibility. Atlantis it's a possibility that it could be a place under the sea. I don't deny it could be true, but he's coming from it from a different point of view that we would look at it, But it's still interesting.
Visit.
He keeps calling
maybe
Stone Age people, hunter-gatherers, you keep saying things like that, you know.
Maybe if I drop
I says you mean farmhouse? You mean people that go farming and planting stuff? You mean, what do you mean hunter-gatherers? Sorry, Matthew, go on.
maybe if I drop out and come back, I'll have volume.
Oh, can't you hear me?
I hear you. I don't hear the video.
Yeah, because I'm not playing it.
Yeah, but when it plays, I'm not hearing it.
What, you can't?
Percent of it, by the way. The rest of it's completely locked
Oh,
off to the
okay. Try coming in. Let me just see if people can hear it in YouTube. Guys in YouTube, can you hear the video?
public. They confiscate your phone.
Oh, I know you know. It's probably my bad. Sometimes when I share window, it does that. Let me just refresh. It's probably me. It'll kick me out. Just give me a second. You stay there.
And I've successfully hijacked the show. Baza said it was 5 by 5.
He did. I noticed that. Right, let's check it now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Matthew, can you hear me?
I can't. I'm gonna drop out and come back. I
Yeah,
can't
you
even hear
need,
you
you
now.
need to drop out. Yeah, he couldn't hear me. He couldn't hear me. He needed to drop out then, even when I refreshed. So, yeah, I think it's his bad, not mine. You see, it only happens with him. I bet it happens with me on Flaxes and Discord. It's a weird thing. Weird thing. Right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see if you can hear the video.
Take all your electronics, you're not
Perfect
or anything.
Cool.
And it's acoustically engineered to a level that they've done like several scientific studies on this. It seems to go up in a perfect ratio harmonically and then resonates at 110 hertz.
You know,
with
it only does that with you for some reason. I don't know. But see, when I do the same thing on Flaxes and Discord. It does that with me on Flaxes. It's weird.
Part called the Oracle Chamber. I know this is getting a bit deep, but this chamber is considered to be essentially an engineered acoustic amplification space because it creates a fundamental frequency of 110 hertz, which we now know through modern science interacts with the brain and can change it into more meditative, expanded, open states of awareness. They're literally studying this. So what you're seeing is, Stone Age.
Maybe, but you shouldn't be playing about with them things, you know. Frequency, fine, but I'm on about states of your brain and all that kind of garbage. Shouldn't be messing about with that.
Yeah, and there's science claims.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, the science and physics sounds got to do with physics, but it depends what angle you're looking at,
Acoustic technologies using the natural materials of the earth, the natural resonances of the earth, and the natural voice of a human being to create echoing, incredible acoustic spaces.
If you're creating something, that's not science. Creating it's not science, It's you're trying to find out why something, how something happens, a natural phenomena. If you're creating it, you're intentionally making that happen. You know what I mean? Not science. That's not science. What are you talking about?
Consciousness. And what happens through that, I'm not quite sure, but it seems like they were intuiting knowledge that is demonstrated in what they were constructing and what they were, laying down and what we're actually able to dig up and see and study. It seems to reflect the same type of knowledge we're just getting to the point of understanding again. So that's very, very strange.
You talked about Peru before.
Yeah. Got back from there recently.
Well, one thing that no one ever talks about, and no one's ever asked this question, I don't think. Why do Peruvians look like Japanese people?
That's an interesting question. I've never really given it much thought.
What do you mean? It's just the features. God scattered everybody in Babel, and that's the features. It's probably got to do with, I don't know. I mean, throughout time, nations kind of intermingle. It can be to do with different races getting together, and making a hybrid race type thing. It can happen. It happens. What do you mean they look like Japanese? They look like Peruvians. They look like Peruvians. They're just very similar looking to Japanese people. What do you mean they're just? Oh, goodness sake!
It
What a
seems
silly question.
Native Americans, they remind me of Japanese people.
A little bit. In some ways, yeah, absolutely. I agree. Or a Scotsman.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
It's just a thing no one talks about.
Yeah.
There's a thing to look into, hey?
Yeah,
maybe
they do.
Why y'all white people look the same? Smell like Bologna. Bologna?
there was some movement between those places.
They do actually look very similar to
Yeah,
Japanese
but because
people.
different cultures, no
But
one
that's
says
it.
that.
Yeah.
You almost see them differently.
Yeah,
but they look like Japanese.
No, that
This
is interesting.
Needs to be looked into.
Well, Peru's fascinating, man.
I mean, Eskimos look like Eskimos, but they're kind of Oriental looking, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're kind of nowhere near like Japan and China and that. Yeah, you know, it's just like it's different features. I mean, it's not a big deal, is it? Really?
The historical kind of narrative around Peru is very interesting because the Inca Empire.
I mean,
was,
Matthew's a white man, but I mean, when Vicky first heard him talking, she thought he was a black man. You know, and he's completely white. I can testify to that.
I mean, all people come from the same people, so
that's right.
Why is it surprising that we kind of look alike?
Right, and we're made in the image of God, you know. So like everybody is going to look very, very similar to a certain degree, same features, stuff like that. We've all got the same kind of same features, just all different shapes of features, different colors of features, different textures of features, different ages of features, different hues, all that kind of thing. Madness. Or are the Inuits close to Asia? Black. Inuits. Is that what you call Eskimos? Inuits. Is that Inuits? Eskimos.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? I thought it was. Yeah.
About 600 years ago. That was like the rise and fall of the Inca Empire. It was very short lived. Like their apex was like 90 years, and then they were like gone. Because of the conquistadors, the Spanish going over and conquering and raping and pillaging and looting and robbing and doing all of that. And it's a very interesting chronology and contradictory chronology. When I went out to Peru, I was very lucky to actually join an archaeological team up at one of the most incredible megalithic sites in the world, called Sacsayhuaman. It's very hard to say without sounding like sexy woman. It's literally like Sacsayhuaman, and it's this mind-blowing structure. If you've ever seen it before, we're talking these huge megalithic zigzagging fortification walls, but they're made of these stones that are squished together as if they were soft and made of marshmallow. Like these massive stones with multiple angles that all fit together like a puzzle piece in ways that just don't make any sense and are incredibly complex engineering. And all across Peru, you have this amazingly complex stone engineering with very hard stone, incredibly hard stone. Now the Inca
or you had giants, things like that use different tools from us, and it would be easier for them to do, being bigger and bigger stones. I mean, I think it's the precision they go on about, like it's laser precision, even better than laser precision. But there was things going on back then that's a little different from today, before the flood and stuff like that, and after.
Bronze Age toolkit wielding culture.
Bronze Age. Wow. All these phrases, man. It's just time, throughout time. There's no ages, I mean, come on. Ice Age, Bronze Age, stainless steel age, when we got to have the platinum age,
Talking bronze chisels and coppers and hammerstones.
Sorry, was you going to say something, Matthew?
Yeah, I was just going to say, just don't call it an aluminium age. It's aluminum.
Aluminum. It's aluminium. We even spell it differently as well.
Stones that could be hammered on other stones. The level of precision that you see in Peru.
But as I say, says, that's the winner history. Native Americans, we're just an advanced and built out like Europe. They lied to us in history books. That's true. Yeah, you're right. But like you saying about Inuits, you know, like Eskimo people, they look a little bit like, if you ask me, Native Americans, you know, and they're in completely different places. God scattered people, didn't he? So, you know, scatterage. Aluminium, your eye knows, Lord. Eye knows, Lord. Your eye knows. All right, your eye knows.
Is so contradictory to that
Funny.
toolkit that it's kind of embarrassing to actually invoke it as the toolkit for constructing these structures all across Peru.
What's a YouTuber by the name of Wise Up? Why? Let me continue to play this and I'll look for him.
And then interestingly enough, and this is something that I highlighted, I went out there and I did like a 4K documentary just on my own with my iPhone, like, you know, filming all these different structures and sites, and I put it together into a multi-part series documentary, which the next episode's coming out soon once I get around to editing it, just trying to find the inspiration to keep going through it, because all the other things are happening right now, the Epstein files.
This one, Roger. This one. This guy here. So this is what does he do? After coming full circle within the megalithic community, my work is like no other out there. Okay, I see. He's into megalithic structures and stuff. That could be interesting. Yeah. Shocking discoveries. Okay. Yeah, it could be interesting. Yeah, let's sub to him. I'll put the link in for you guys if you want to sub. Nice one, Rog. I'll have a look at this dude, see what he's like. Nice. Ancient architecture thing. Yeah, that's the one. There you go, guys. If you want to sub to him, I just have. It's in private chat if you want to sub to him, Matthew. There you go. Groovy. Wonderful. Ach, idiot. I got rid of the ting. The ting. You numpty PJ, what you playing at?
Like, honestly, I'm on all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try and keep my finger on everything. So I'm trying to like take a space
Keep
and breathe
his
and
finger on
actually
everything.
recalibrate myself and do this
Oh,
next
he's a
episode.
flat earther.
When I was out there,
Nice.
I was just
Nice.
demonstrating how you have these incredible
He's a
megalithic.
flat earther, that makes it like a little bit better, absolutely. Cool. He's a Scot too. Oh, he's a Scot. Scott is just spelt with one T, Roger. But yeah, nice one, bro. Nice one. Scott, you just spelt the name, Scott. If you're Scottish and you're a Scot, it's just one T.
Multi-ton, fitted together without any mortar, no binding agent, no cement, like these just interlocking huge stones.
Okay, Scott.
And yet there's a massive.
I love it. Roger tried to say okay, Scott, and he's saying, "Cat Scott." That's great. So I'm an Cat Scott now. What kind of an Cat Scott is a Scot? What kind of a Scotsman is an Cat Scott? Is that one that wears I don't know, skunk skins instead of a kilt? I don't know. Or mountain cat skin instead of a kilt.
It's got polka dots. Polka
dots.
Yeah.
Part in polka dots, of course. With blue stripes. Freedom. I know, Roger. I do it all the time, bro. I do it all the time. I mean, at the end of a stream, when I'm trying to type Indeed, the amount of times I put on deed or Indeed.
Amount of damage on these large megalithic structures. You go down into the Sacred Valley and you go to places like Ollantay Tambo, and all these big megalithic structures have blocks blown across the hillside like Jenga pieces, right? A lot of force to take out these large multi-ton, 20, 30, 40-ton stones.
Yeah.
And then around a lot of these sites, Sacsayhuaman, Ollantay Tambo, all these different areas, you will see these very simple mortar, like mud, adobe, brick using structures that are built with just like, you know, loose stone and are just quick to pop up and very easy. And they are basically untouched. Like they barely have any damage to them whatsoever. They're scattered around all of these different megalithic structures. Now, the mainstream historical narrative attributes all of these constructions to the Inca. But it's very strange when you go to these places, and I do make it very apparent in my videos, just kind of like, look at this one and look at this one. Here's a multi-ton megalithic structure that seems to have been fitted together to a point where it could resist huge amounts of force blown across the hillside. And here's an Inca hut that's made of mud and like loose cement and loose stone, and it's barely even collapsing, and we're being told these were made at the same time. It's like, well, there's a huge discrepancy
Yeah,
here with
but-
the force that's being applied to
Well,
this and why.
yeah, but come on, something might be made of one, material, a weaker material that maybe degrades quicker than another material. I mean, you got to take these kind of things into consideration. I mean, he maybe already has. I'm just saying.
I'm going to YouTube side, bro. I got to start cooking.
All right, bro. No problem. See you in a little bit. Bless,
Later.
man. Thanks for them pictures.
Much love, people.
Much love, man.
Hasn't been applied to that much simpler, less damage resistant structure. So this is all over Peru that you see a lot of damage, erosion, and degradation in very, very ancient looking but incredibly impressive stone structures, alongside quite pristine, simplistic structures that the mainstream is also attributing to the same builders. And it just doesn't make sense based on the damage that you see on these places. So yeah, Peru's a very good one for like a physical juxtaposition of viewing well, that and that just can't match up on the same timeline. It just doesn't make any logical sense.
Couldn't the damage have been caused by, say, newcomers?
Of course it can match up in the same timeline because it's there, it exists, so it has to match up.
Because often religious people will come to a new country and they'll see these big religious looking symbols and they'll destroy them, build their own things on top.
You would struggle. We're talking when you go to places like Ollantaytambo, we're talking rose quartz granite blocks that are larger than this table and completely solid all the way down, that are just thrown across the hillside. And it looks like the level of force that an earthquake would produce, not the level of force that you could use before gunpowder's been invented, let alone dynamite. So even the Spanish conquistadors didn't have dynamite. They had gunpowder, but even that wouldn't blow this stuff up.
These are compact a load of gunpowder together into a big stick. It'll become bloody dynamite, won't it? Pretty much.
Solid multi-ton stone walls. The level of force required to break that apart would be astronomical. And then again, if we're talking about invaders that are coming in and destroying things, why didn't they destroy the very easy to destroy huts?
I know, bro. I know that. I know you knew anyway, because we've had the conversation before. We had it when we was talking about between Scotch, Scot, and Scot. Scot, Scotch, and Scot. 2 T's Scot, 1 T Scot, and Scotch as in whiskey. We had the conversation. I knew you knew.
Well, I would just take a few swings of your hammer and bring that thing down. So it's very weird again that you have these pristine huts that are apparently the same time period as these ones, and the level of force is contradictory to the idea that it could just be done by humans raiding with kind of stone tools and weapons and fire. It's much higher damage than that. And weirdly, there's a lot of parts in Peru on these structures where you see what's called vitrification, where it's almost glass-like, shiny, very shiny glass-like stone, which only happens from extreme heat. You need extremely high temperatures to start, vitrifying stone. So again, and that's not just in Peru, that's in Egypt and a few other areas where you find a lot of vitrification of ancient structures. So it just makes you think, what could have caused that high heat? Again, invoking the idea that potentially these are due to massive geological traumas, not because of human raiders, but because of a geological event.
I know what vitrified means. Vitrified refers to a material, often clay, ceramic, or sand, that has been transformed into a dense, non-porous, glassy substance through extreme heat and fusion. Right, okay. This process eliminates pores, making the materials such as floor tiles or pottery impervious to water, durable, and stain resistant. Okay. It's kind of like fortifying, but for ceramics.
Damaging.
So I love the idea. I know you said this probably isn't the case, but I love the idea that there were people at our level sitting doing podcasts.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to put the kettle on, but I'm going to do it after this is finished when we go over to Rumble.
Gone, and it's like, gosh, is that going to happen to us now? And
I say hilarious, it'd actually be terrifying. that would kind of solidify that we're not going to make it, really, if that was
terrifying but exciting. This prospect of wow, I wonder how technological they became before they, I don't know, maybe you've destroyed one another with nuclear weapons or who knows what.
Well, maybe it's just a roll of the dice. There's a lot
nuclear weapons, really.
A lot of people that believe that there are cycles on this planet, like the great year, every, X amount of years, 124,000 years, the planet will reset. There'll be a polar axis shift, a magnetic shift, and this will in turn.
He's talking about this polar axial shift, and I don't know how you get a polar axial shift on a stationary level topographical plane. How does that happen? How can you have a polar axial shift with one pole?
And shift you off of the planet if you're still there. So it's almost like, if there is these cycles on large scales on the planet, it's like you've been given X amount of time to kind of get yourself sorted out and maybe get off into space before it resets. And if that's the case, then who knows how many iterations there've been of human society. And maybe each time there's a reset, it's a slightly different developmental path. That would make sense, kind of randomization and, different environmental stimuli and situations would create.
What's up, Baza? Also, possibly many of the structures could have been carved of wood, then petrified from pressure of massive flood. Right, 100%. We don't know what that pressure of that flood could have done to certain things, Lots of stuff going on, the temperature, pressure, motion, the dynamics of the fluid, there's so many different things going on. People just hear, oh yeah, world flood, oh, lots of water, that's it. I think there was a lot of stuff going on, especially what the water was doing to stuff, just because there's a power of that. Right, of course. Don't know about a pole shift. How do you get a flood on a globe? Exactly. Well, but how do you get a polar axial shift on a non-rotating topographical plane with one pole? If you've got one pole and it's a flat plane, then there's no axle. Where's the axle for there to be a shift? No axle. So, sorry, no polar axial shift. Just
Create different developmental curves. So I do think we were incredibly different to whatever might have come prior to us, just based on, again, the observation of what they seem to have been interested in and focused on as a society, given what we have left to observe, which isn't much, granted, but what we can observe does seem to be spiritual and natural and connected to the...
What we observe isn't much, granted. Okay, so you're saying what we observe now isn't much, but for sure there was a big bang in evolution. That's even less so observed because it's not observed at all. So you admit you don't observe much nowadays. So how the hell can you be so sure about a bloody big bang in evolution? Unbelievable how selective their minds are about things.
The natural flows, and that seems to be
my light's gone off.
They were interested in. We've gone down a very different route.
Yeah.
Again, potentially because of the need to survive through
So my light's gone off. I'm gonna have to plug it in, charge it, because I'll need it on for a bit.
Cataclysmic environment and a post-apocalyptic world, and struggle and competition would then set in as the natural thing.
But surely even previous iterations of us would have had that kind of competitive stuff going on. Just
for sure. But I would say that being in a kind of post-apocalyptic environment would certainly turn that up a little bit, wouldn't it? The competition, because suddenly everyone's desperate.
How much room do you leave in your mind to, maybe it was just these guys were pretty impressive what they did with their tools, but there wasn't really this other civilizations and things like that.
I'm totally open to the idea that there wasn't like a hyper advanced, globally connected civilization. But I think it would be irrational to say that the model that we have for history is the right model. It's absolutely not. It can be contradicted from this, that, and the other. Various different examples can be taken to contradict the narrative we have. And you've got to remember, a lot of this was written by early 1800s explorers who were just going out there with their little hard hat, and then they were coming back and lecturing. And we've just passed that on as the knowledge. Again, like you'd go to Peru, it's a good example for many reasons. We listen to the Spanish conquistadors. They went over there, they look at places like Sacsayhuaman, and they go, okay, so that was built by the Inca. And so we go back and we teach.
So you're saying, bro, us or stone could have been vibrated or heated and poured out like aluminium cast. Again, we will never know because it's all hidden. Exactly, bro. There's a lot of room in there, PJ. His mind. That is. It's like a TARDIS, like the Doctor's TARDIS from Doctor Who. It's massive on the inside and tiny outside. But the only thing about the massive on the inside, it's empty massive. It's vacant. We're so pretty, oh, so pretty. We're vacant.
Teach our children that it was built by the Inca. You sit down with an Andean shaman from Peru, and they'll say, "No, that was the Viracocha. It was the ancients. It was a time long before the Inca. When the Inca found these places, they built around them and venerated them, just like in Egypt. But this is a story that just seems to track around all of these different ancient cultures,
like the back rooms, which reminds me, the guy who, do you remember the back rooms, like liminal spaces? That was a big thing on YouTube way back when, 2012 maybe, 2015 maybe, and the back rooms, creepy back room things, liminal spaces type thing. Well, the guy who did that on YouTube is now made a movie on it, like a horror backrooms movie based on it, and it's coming out this year, so I won't mind seeing that. That'll be cool. And the big YouTuber, I don't know if you've heard of him. What's his name again? Oh my goodness. He made a movie called based on a computer game. He's a computer streamer, a computer game streamer, a gamer on YouTube. And he reviews games, plays games, videos, streams and that. And he's been doing it for a long time on YouTube. And he'd reviewed a game that he loved, a scary game called The Iron Lung, which is about a submarine. It's a horror game about a submarine going down to the bottom of the sea and that. What's his name? But he's now, because he's a big YouTuber and got the money and that, directed, produced the film of that game called The Iron Lung. And I'm waiting for it to come out in HD so we can see it. What's his name? He's a big YouTuber now. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to find out. Not Penguin Zero, but he's on the same kind of stamp as him. Big. Begins with M. YouTuber. Big YouTube games. Markiplier. That's it. Markiplier. That's his name. Markiplier. Big YouTuber.
where a lot of advancement is present, including India as well. The Bhagavad Gita and all these different stories. I mean, you look at the stories in ancient Indian scripture, there's stuff about flying.
Roger. Yeah, my oldest keeps asking about the back rooms like they are real, and where are they? Yeah, no, it was a spooky thing. It was on YouTube and people did believe it for a while, but it's now been the same guys that did it on YouTube have now made it into a movie, and it's coming out this year. I won't mind seeing it. And like I say, Markiplier has written, directed the movie Iron Lung, the Iron Lung. Yeah, you would do to see him. You would do to see him, Markiplier. Everybody know him. He had long hair at one point. Nice guy, decent guy, man. Big YouTuber though. He was the first one to ever call out years ago about honey.com. The money thing. It was a money lending thing. Honey, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, he was the first one to call it out, and he was justified years later.
Vehicles in the sky, the Vimanas, like these flying fortresses, and descriptions of wars in the sky, and weapons that sound like nuclear weapons in the ancient times. It's very weird stuff.
It wouldn't have been nuclear, but different weapons to what we had, absolutely. In scripture, anyway.
Indian scriptures in the Vedas.
I'm not talking about Indians, I'm talking about our scriptures. Biblical script, and also extra biblical, likes of Enoch, Joshua, things like that. You know the one.
So, yeah, I don't think.
Hey, we still have to have a look at the infancy gospels. Do a stream just reading them out one day. the infancy gospel of Thomas. Well, I'll have to have a good look at that and see how heretical it is, because we just did a video on it, but we should actually read the scripture. Yeah, we'll do that.
We can fully say, oh yeah, there was this Atlantean civilization, they were highly advanced, but to invoke this ridiculous linear developmental path from Stone Age to Bronze Age, it's a joke. It doesn't make any sense. And frankly, like a lot of the mainstream will, sit back and go, yeah, no, that model doesn't really make sense anymore. Although that is still considered what, we view history as, this kind of relatively linear progression. But even in the mainstream, I think at this point, things are piling up where they would say, well, no, it's not linear.
Yeah, the oldest is only 5 years old now. Yeah, see what the internet is. Absolutely true, Roger. 100%, bro. 100%. It's the first go-to now as well. If you want to find out something, you don't go down to the library anymore to go and find a book. You don't just phone up your mom and ask your mom or your dad, if you think they know more than you. You now just go straight to your phone, look up on the internet. Once upon a time, if you really needed to know something, you had to go out and investigate it. You had to go to the library and find out. You had to phone your mom, or if you didn't have any phone credit, or you didn't have bloody money for the phone box, you had to go run to your mom's and ask her. That kind of thing. Once upon a time, we had to actually strive to get some answers.
There's an asymmetry to this where people are developing in extremely advanced ways here and less so here, and it's pockets, right? It makes sense. And one thing I would say as well, in terms of the idea of living next to an advanced civilization, I mean, just look at us and then look at somewhere like Sentinel Island, where they're an uncontacted tribe. I mean, there's a few of them in the world. There are tribes that are living exactly how we were living, 5,000, 4,000 years.
No. 5,000, 4,000 years ago, look, we see how people were living in the Bible then. People were having wars, people were having peace. People were sitting in slavery. People were building things, sitting down having meals together, farming, all that kind of stuff. They weren't these inferior people that you're talking about. And even these people on these islands you're talking about that haven't been in, that's just because they've been blocked off from an urban kind of civilization. If you were to put them in that situation, they'd adapt very quickly, guaranteed, because they'd have to. But the thing is as well, just because they're not the same as the people in those urban civilizations, and they're in a way off island somewhere, it doesn't make them inferior or less intelligent. You've got to remember they're in their situation. So if you were in their situation, you might think they're stupid, but if you lived in their situation, you would be stupid to them because you wouldn't have a clue what's going on. Your intelligence is a product of your environment also, and perception, So it doesn't make them inferior just because their environment is different to what other people's are.
Ago as hunter-gatherers, and they're living next door to people that are doing quantum
computation
and going to space.
A lot easier.
So they're living next to an alien hyper-advanced civilization.
Nobody's going to space, bro. Nobody's going to space.
Right? Us. So the idea that didn't happen in the past, well, why not? There's a literal example of that right now. Us and all of the other uncontacted tribes that are just trying to go about their earthly business while we're just tearing things up, right? Tearing it up.
We're not allowed to visit them because we're given them.
What other kind of business would they be going on about? The heavenly business when they're living on the earth? The helly business when they're living on the earth? Of course it's an earthly business. Why would you have to put that there?
People have tried to convert them to Christ and stuff and got arrows in return for it. I don't know if you know about that famous story. There's a guy.
Yes, of course. And of course they're going to get that. But that doesn't stop people trying, doesn't stop people that are doing ministries to try and get these people converted and to know Christ. That's their mission. And in the end, every knee will bow and take the tongue confess anyway. There'll be no excuses. And even if for some reason, which is against scripture, because I'm sure that it says everybody will know, but just say there was one little island that didn't know. They were innocent. they were ignorant to scriptures, to God, or anything like that, they would still have some kind of inherent sense of morality, you know. So God would take them at a one-by-one basis, you know, because it's not their fault they didn't get to know, but they've still got that inbuilt, that inherited, that inherent, sense of morality that comes from God anyway. But I think it's against scripture to say that no, a little island wouldn't hear, because I think it says everybody will at some point. But just say there wasn't. That's my kind of hypothetical. What's up, Faza? Can't see the tree for the forest. Exactly, bro. God didn't create knuckle dragon 8 millions of years ago. He made intelligent speaking man, not cavemen. Exactly, bro. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Just because these people on islands don't talk the way you do, don't act the way you do, don't do the things you're doing, doesn't make them inferior to you or stupid. Like I say, you'd get dropped into their situation. You're going to be the stupid man, you know, not them.
Went out he went out wading with a Bible up to Sentinel Island. They just filled him with arrows, dude.
Well, he did it the wrong way then, waving the Bible. That was a stupid way of doing things. Waving something. I mean, that's silly. He obviously didn't, you know. I mean, he might have just been a martyr, I don't know. But, you know, waving the Bible about, that was probably pride talking. He probably did that for pride, you know. It would have been nice if we got to talk to him, yes, but maybe his pride got in the way. Maybe that's not how they were meant to hear. Maybe they'll hear in a different way.
Yeah, we don't want that here.
It doesn't mean to say he deserved to die. I don't mean
that. Keep your white Jesus away from us.
It's mean going waving a Bible to people who don't know what a Bible is and haven't seen people from your civilization before. Silly thing to do.
What was he thinking?
Yeah.
You know, waving a gun about, you know.
So that I guess
they don't know it's not something that won't hurt him. They've never seen it before.
It's hard, isn't it? Because some of the stuff you're saying,
and you know, waving yourself about is an aggressive gesticulation, I think, to some people.
There was references a few thousand years ago
to this and puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, if someone thousands of years in the future look back at us, they'd be going, "Oh, there were the people were writing about like witches going to schools and things like that." And you go, "Well, that's a fiction." So you don't. It's so hard to go off of what was written about thousands of years ago. And
it is,
you know,
it is.
Why?
But what's interesting is to assess what we have physically in front of us, and some of the things that we have in front of us that we can actually just look at don't make sense. One place that I really want to go to, but it's a bit of a hot zone because it's kind of like the heartland of Hezbollah in Lebanon. There's a temple called Baalbek Temple in Lebanon, and next to it is a quarry, and this quarry is mind-blowing because in this quarry you have limestone blocks weighing in excess of 1,250 tons. Like these have got photos online of
giants, Nephilim, monsters, fallen angels, ghouls,
150 people standing on top of these blocks, like, whoa, look at these things, right? And then 100, 200 meters up the road from this quarry where you've got these ridiculous blocks is the Temple of Jupiter.
And
the Temple of Jupiter is attributed to the 1st century Romans who were out there at the time, and they built their temple. And yes, there's, a temple.
One of the blocks are like the size of a house, some of them, maybe bigger. So yeah, they are big. They are big. I agree. It's hard to fathom with our minds in our size how it could be done. But there were big people back then. And again, there could have been technologies, different kinds of tools and stuff. Like I say, the angels did teach men a few things they weren't meant to know.
That is quite clearly 1st century Roman. The foundations of that temple, however, are absolutely astronomically megalithic and huge. And there are 3 blocks, very famous blocks called the Trilithon stones that are resting about 30 meters up. So part of the foundation level, but had to be lifted 30 meters. that weigh about 800 to 1,000 tons each. All right, so we're talking lifting 1,000-ton potentially blocks.
Well,
in first century Rome.
You think of
when
someone that's 100 times your size, that is no problem at all.
they had wooden cranes with rope.
Is that bigger than the Stonehenge ones? How much?
Oh,
is it?
way
much
bigger.
Even
Stonehenge is
someone,
like-
you know, 30 times your size. A couple of them would be able to do that. Even, you know, 10 times your size. You get a group of them who's got to be able to lift that.
you know, up to about, I think 70, 80 tons, maybe 100 tons. Like, so these are phenomenal. You can't even really get an understanding for it until you look at an image, and there's a few out there of people standing next to it.
And yeah, I mean, that's big. But you've got giants, and also giants, if they used giant tools, giant equipment, you know, like we use equipment for things we can't lift, like a crane. Maybe giant people had, there was so even stones that they couldn't lift, say, they had machinery they made that could lift them. I don't mean like diesel fuel things. Yeah, maybe like a pulley type system crane, you know what I'm saying, gadgets. And a good group of them could do it. But that is massive. Look at the size of that block, bro. Huge. I mean, you could carve that into a block of flats. Near enough 2 levels. Or you could make 3 houses out of that. 3 small houses. Wow, look at the size of that. It's huge, isn't it, man? 3 small houses in that block there.
These blocks, and you just see like this tiny human being and then these huge blocks. And the problem is that the Romans loved to brag about things that were very impressive. So especially when it came to like architecture, they actually wrote about in 3rd century Rome their heaviest lift, the heaviest lift they'd ever done, of the Lateran obelisk, which was brought from Alexandria to Rome, which weighs, I think, in about 400 to 450 tons. Okay, so very heavy. My God, 400 and 450 tons is a serious piece of stone, man. It's not 800 though. It's not 1,000. And that's 3rd century Rome that lifted the Lateran obelisk. We're talking 1st century Rome that you're attributing the lifting of 1,000-ton blocks to. So you have this incredibly ancient looking and huge foundation temple. And then they built their temple on top. And you can see it because the blocks are smaller. So it becomes a 1st century Roman temple because they found a foundation. They clearly came across an ancient foundation and built a temple.
Yeah, they did that as well, Roger. They floated things down canals. They even built canals to do stuff like that, like they did in the UK, even here, back in the 1800s, when the industrial age kind of came in. You know, 1800s they made canals all through the UK. Probably did in States and stuff like that as well. You know, floated stuff down there. So why couldn't these people do it, or giants do it as well?
Top of it.
So an ancient people who had some kind of like forklift or something.
Right. I mean, dude, like forklift, forget.
Yeah, if you want to call it forklift, but you know, that type of thing in a different, you know, and you know, dynamically and logistically it'd be different. You know, developmental ways, like you spoke about earlier.
Forget about it. You can't even do some of this with the best cranes in the world. Like right now, you'd need something like, I think it's like the Lieberman 3000 to lift 1,000-ton blocks like that. So you'd need to invoke cutting edge modern technology to lift that now. And we're talking apparently 1st century Rome with wooden pulleys and wooden cranes and rope pulleys. Yeah, and just a whole load of gusto and elbow grease. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So there's like areas around
guys, I'm going for a pee.
The world where you just have a question mark, big question mark, and it's just kind of glazed over by modern history because it's like, oh well, you know, Roman blocks, Roman temple, Roman. Forget about it. But then you come back and you go, well, hang on, these 3 blocks here, 1,000 tons each. How do we explain that? And they don't talk about it. It's only the alternative conspiracy theorists that bring up things like, well, what about Baalbek? What about the Trilithon stones? Like, these are questions. The Antikythera mechanism, these are questions. Like,
a lot of people focus on the ground first, and then they look to the skies, UFOs. Trump said he was going to release the files, but I've not seen anything. So it sort of makes me think, maybe there is just nothing, which is boring, but maybe there's nothing.
Nah, there's definitely something.
Definitely
There's,
something.
definitely something. I mean, you know, the UFO subject was my first inlet into being a researcher. I've had some weird experiences myself, which actually were the reason why I became a researcher in the first place. It's a bit of a weird story, and fell down multiple research avenues since then. But I got very connected into the UFO stuff because my own weird experiences that I couldn't explain happened in tandem with all of this US Navy pilots. I was like, my God, talk about synchronicity, talk about a connection with something that I'm experiencing, and now something's happening in the wider world. So I started, you know, doing my research very early on when, you know, Lou Elizondo and all of these guys in the US government were coming out on the record. And I got very connected. You know, I've interviewed all of the big guys, all the, you know, spooks and spies from the Pentagon and various people. And I am of the opinion that there is absolutely a psychological operation being put up against the general public by the government.
You see,
I think that there's like a kind of like a false trail of
you
breadcrumbs.
see how he had to do the full terminology instead of just saying psyop. Oh, I believe there's a psychological operation ensuing. Come on, it's a bloody psyop, bro.
Being laid,
but it couldn't be the
by
government. They don't know. Like,
it's way above government. There's like 99.9% plausible deniability in government because they just don't know. We're talking about
Trump. Would he know?
Trump's a weird character. You know, his uncle was MIT, John G. Trump. He was an electro physicist, and he was the scientist that was given all of the confiscated Tesla papers when Nikola Tesla's lab was raided by the FBI when he died, and they took all of his high energy exotic physics work. It was John G. Trump, MIT physicist, uncle to Trump, who was the guy overseeing what was actionable, what was national security interest, etc., etc. He actually said in a video that he saw correspondence between Tesla and czars of Russia and the highest levels of British royalty about the acquiring of a super weapon of unimaginable power from Tesla. And he was like, I never found out what the weapon was, but we, you know, so
you must have been interested in the Venezuela reports.
I mean, yeah, like the discombobulator, like, you know, I love that. I mean, well, I don't know, sound weapons, that's easy, man. That's baby shit. Like, you know, we're talking that's like vanilla light when it comes to what they have as experimental weaponry. You know, but
my mate Robbie Williams, which is my flex saying that.
Nice,
my mate Robbie Williams, he's had a UFO experience.
I know he has.
Yeah,
he said he just, with that thing that came through the living room.
Yeah,
Robbie Williams is a singer. There's an angel contemplates my fate from the band Take That.
I thought he just walked outside and looked up, and there was like a dark shadow coming over his head or something.
Because he
had a movie put out actually last year called Monkey Man, where he's playing himself, but it's a monkey instead of him for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because he said he was always a monkey man. I don't know.
The Skinwalker Ranch, he's all about it.
Yeah,
he's very interested.
But he's done a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
He'd be the first to say that.
Yeah, like, you know, I have done a lot of drugs, so you know, yeah. The jury's out on what I saw in the sky. Like, yeah, I get that. You know, but you know, at the end of the day, there's plenty of people who have seen things sober, and there's plenty of you know, video captures of very strange things. But we live in a day and age now, especially with AI generation, where I don't think any sort of smoking gun UFO video from the government or whatever is ever going to do anything, because no one believes anything anymore.
Yeah, but it would be better to have something that wasn't just a flashing light. Do you know?
Oh, I hear you.
I want to see a grey. That's what they're called, isn't it?
Yeah,
I want to see the one from American Dad to just walk in and go, hello.
Yeah, I wouldn't put much stock and faith in the US government's disclosure process and everything that's kind of cooking up in the US. It just feels like the closer you get to that particular network of people, it gets weird. It gets kind of like a bit culty, you know, and you can't challenge the narrative on what they're trying to put out. And I just think that there's a lot of mystery in this world. And I've, you know, had my fair share of experiences which speak to me that there is more than we understand. And when it comes to UFOs, there are things that are unidentified and happen to be in the air and we can't explain them, and on the ground. You know, there are just things that happen.
Not aliens. Demons, boy. Demons. Or psyops.
World that we can't fully explain. And that's what interests me the most, the unexplainable stuff, and trying to find potential bridges to discussing it in a way that's not just dismissed and, you know, you roll your eyes at it. Which is why I, again, think it's very interesting that, especially when it comes to looking at consciousness and the mystery of consciousness and, you know, the ancient mystic beliefs around this kind of stuff. And then you're seeing how in the modern viewpoint, through the empirical lens of modern science, we're starting to make the same connections. That's very interesting to me. And I think we're in a time period where we might be able to start empirically validating through the lens we've chosen as the acceptable lens of communication, which is science and proper and logic, which is fine. That's good. You need that.
It depends on what science you're talking about, whether it's the real science or the pseudoscientific type.
Through that lens, we will start explaining spirituality, and not debunking it, but explaining it. Explaining it as fundamental connection to quantum states and zero.
Explaining spirituality. There's nothing to explain. Scripturally, it tells you what it is. It's your relationship with God. And then you are spirit when you leave this body. It's not much to explain. You can't explain it scientifically because it's not science.
Vacuum fluctuations and all this, like, you know, big exotic language.
And it's not a natural phenomena. It's supernatural. So it can't be explained by science at all.
Find very interesting as well is that really all we're doing is making more complex language to explain the same.
He's high right now, probably had a meth pipe before he come in. His eyes are quite wide and glary, so possibly, bro.
Said when he said we're all connected.
I
Everything
wouldn't like to accuse.
is one. Now we need like quantum verbiage and, like, you know, like two systems in a quantum state are biologically connected through, you know, like it's just the same thing. It's the same thing as that simple sentence. It's just that we don't like hearing the simple sentence. We need to have lots of, like, you know, big words and verbs, and then we believe it, you know. So we're getting there.
I feel like if an alien got here, it would not be biological. Because if we went to visit other planets in like 1 million years or 10,000 years, it probably wouldn't be humans. It would be the things we made.
Right.
So is that what you think? Do you think
like a von Neumann probe? You heard of that? Von
No.
Neumann was a self-replicating AI. You know, the idea that it's a self-replicating AI that would be the most successful in colonizing the universe, which it would, of course, right? You know, a non-biological form that can't die, that can exist in the vacuum of space without oxygen, without worries about time.
Well, no, I think that would go better to spirit than AI. See, that's just limited understanding. We're going to be living forever with God, eternally, forever and ever and ever. You know, in new bodies.
Yeah, it would be the most likely to develop. And, you know, there's a really weird conversation I had on the record with the highest ranking person I've ever spoken to in my life, Admiral Bobby Ray Inman. He was the director and deputy director of CIA, NSA, NRO, like all of the alphabet agencies in the US, basically, like a real, you know, big guy. And I got him on, and I'd asked him about UFOs, and he got very bound up quite quickly, you know, and so it was like, like, you know, I didn't really want to talk about UFOs that much. But he did say something to me multiple times that I just thought was really weird. And he said, I have an extremely high level of confidence that there is no other living life in our galaxy. I was like, what do you...
I agree with him, but there is no such thing as galaxy, and we're just here. There's just us. There's no life out there because it's water. I mean, if you want to say spirit and that, fine, but not this type of life. Because there is no such place as other galaxies.
What do you mean by that? I mean, obviously, one, how could he possibly know that? And that's a ridiculous statement to
I
make. But
know.
this is a dude who headed up like every major intelligence agency in the US. He's a serious dude. He's like 91 years old now. And he said it multiple times. He reiterated it multiple times, but wouldn't go any further than that. And emailed me afterwards as well saying, you know, I don't think that you got what you wanted from me, but I hope you pay very close attention to what I had to say. I was just like, so what is this guy hinting?
Living life.
Living life. Biological life? Is he saying that the only thing they've ever seen evidence for is artificial life?
Why didn't he say biological life?
Well, he said living life. You know, he just said living life.
Sounds redundant.
Well, maybe the remnants of civilizations they've found, like, you know, the idea there's things on Mars. You know, there's a very popular conspiracy that they're covering up NASA images on Mars. I mean, there are some weird structures
in the galaxy or in
Mars.
the
No such things as NASA images on Mars. Was it Devon's Island?
The galaxy. That's what's really weird. How could you have that level of confidence on the galaxy?
I bet there's living life in our solar system.
Well, that's what I mean, man. I mean, there is. We know there's like amoebic life.
There is living life in our system, but it's not a solar one.
We know there's like tiny
We don't know
little. We do.
We think that.
What is this like? This freaks me out. This is why I think CERN is doing some crazy shit to our reality. Like, no, I'm joking, but like, not really, because there have been multiple reports over the years of like finding.
Sam is doing something I really. No, I'm only joking. No, not really, but.
Fossilized microbes on asteroids. It's like that. There is literally evidence that microbes have been out in space in other places.
How would you be able to see that? How would you be able to see that? It's ridiculous. The telescopes can see microbial life on other planets. A load of garbage.
Is right. So like,
is that definitely right?
Yeah, like, dude, I swear
like that's
God,
a Mandela moment.
That's what I mean, though. It's freaking me out because if you Google like meteor microbes found.
But I agree, bro. I'm glad I put this one on. Roger. It has been a good comedy.
Side meteorite. I swear there's like a decade-old story on this. And if there isn't, then I'm losing my grip on reality. But I just think that we've probably already found microbial.
Lost your grip on reality when you start talking all this garbage.
Come on, it's like they've managed to grow fungus in like the ISS and stuff. Like things can grow out there.
Really? It wouldn't be hard to grow fungus in the ISS because it's at the bottom of a bloody pool, in an air bubble, at the bottom of a pool. So it wouldn't be hard to grow fungus on the ISS.
And propagate.
Bacteria found in asteroid sample, but they're not from space.
Where are they from?
Well, I've got to read this whole thing.
Bacteria from asteroid sample, but they're not from space. Obviously, because there's no such place as space.
Yeah. Okay, well, you don't have to dead air it that badly.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off the mark with microbes being found in space rocks. I don't think I am, though. Right. I swear to God, that feels like a
rock from the asteroid Ryugu that was brought back to Earth appears to be festooned with microbial life, but these microbes almost certainly came from Earth.
Because it's festooned with microbial life. It's scattered all over the place, this microbial life. And we can see that, of course.
Other than outer space, say researchers. This contamination serves as a cautionary tale in the search for extraterrestrial life and future sample return missions, such as from NASA's Perseverance rover on Mars. Because I suppose once it gets to Earth, it might have micro. You'd have to test it while we're out there.
Yeah.
That's a difficult.
Well, it's like when they tested Hitler's skull. It turns out to be a female's. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. You know the skull that was originally put in the museum is a female skull. And the moon rocks, what was it? Which astronaut gave
Hitler was a tranny. You remember the song? Hitler has only got one ball. But it seems like Hitler had no balls.
Moon rocks to a Chinese man, and then they found out it was petrified wood.
Oh,
that's a true story as well. Like,
yeah, the same as moon rock.
Things happen. You know, I mean, they say stuff. Yeah. Who knows if it's real? Who knows? Maybe the microbes came from the ocean on the planet. Maybe the microbes were already on there.
I just feel like
we never get told.
Some of those moons, you know, Saturn and Jupiter's moons.
Yeah,
they look like they are right for life.
Well, that really? Was Buzz Aldrin.
Really? How much life really do you ever see living on a light? Really? There's or it could be, if it's not just a light in its spirit, then there's no life living on that spirit except its own spirit.
About a monolith on the moon of Mars. You ever hear that? No. There's like a daytime news segment where he's on the news and he's talking and he's like, you know, we need to be exploring space. We need to be going out there. He's trying to, like, you know, just incite excitement over a space program again. Yeah. And he says, you know, look at we got to go to the moon, go to the moon of Mars. There is a monolith on that moon, this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars. And when we go there, people are going to say, who put that there? Who put that there? Well, maybe God put it there. And he's getting, that's a pretty much verbatim quote right there of him excitedly talking about, well, when are we going to find out what the monolith is on Phobos? Never found out about that again.
Wow. So giddy over these anecdotal stories that are never going to come true. They're not even anecdotal because they haven't happened. You know, these science fiction stories, man, still giddy on them. Crazy, bro. Accepting what you live in. You live in this enclosed world that God gave us to live on. You know? Why would God work in vain and build a universe that's so vast that nobody can get to any of the places? So stupid. This is all there is, and this is creation. It's better than any kind of bloody science fiction, bloody heliocentrism universe. You know?
You know,
it's fascinating. I sometimes see on Twitter, my Twitter thing is mostly filled with stuff about like mass immigration, but every now and then there's one about space.
Your dreams must be like chaotic, bro. Like,
there's mass immigration and then sort of space. And there's like a
He's talking about things he gets on his feed, like mass immigration and all that. Then he turns around and says to him, "Oh, your dreams must be chaotic, dude." What? Why would you go on about his dreams just because of that comment? His dreams must be chaotic. Your thinking is chaotic, brother. I mean, to come out with that, what? Your dreams must be chaotic. I can understand if he started going into the realm of talking about sleeping in his dreams, but no, he was talking about what comes across his feed. What? Chaotic mind.
You know, photos of
mass immigration in space. Like,
put
them out there.
Photos of London sort of falling and getting into decline, and then photos
how
of
we might exodus off of this planet one day.
And the sun's or migration to Mars might happen.
How can you exodus off something that's not a planet and you can't get out of?
As well, and it will just be.
Who wants to do that though? Do you want to go to that barren ass planet? Like...
Well, no, but the photos of like sunset from Mars and like the fact that we can see that blows my mind.
Yeah.
That keeps me up at night. I'm looking at
it keeps you up at night. My goodness, fakery keeps you up at night. Wow, really? It's so sad that people still believe this. Honestly, guys, so sad.
That. Wow, unbelievable.
It's so sad it hurts, man. It makes my face hurt for them. My face hurts. It hurts. You know, how can they be so sad they still believe this garbage? It makes my face squint up like, so my face is actually hurting physically.
So you find out it's like Utah.
That's
another layer of conspiracy for people.
That's the
jury's out on all those things, but I don't know.
I know, that's the thing. Do you how was Joe Rogan? What was he like off screen? Was he all right?
It was surreal. It was awesome. Yeah, he's a lovely guy.
He was a gatekeeper.
He's easy to talk to, easy to like.
He's easy to like.
Very kind.
Oh, he got 11 minutes.
Kindly invited me to his comedy club afterwards, so I got to see him and his buddies do their sets. Which was
sorry it was so long, guys. Sorry it was so long, but you know, at least we got a good one. Funny one, at least.
Awesome.
I went
very
to the
fun.
Mothership.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? I like the vibe. I actually do like the fact that they take the phones off of you because it just creates an environment where the comedians feel a bit more free, and they definitely do because it gets a bit spicy. And I was like, oh, hey, I like this is my kind of comedy. 90s comedy, 80s, 90s comedy, right?
You know what's funny is I went to that, and then the next thing I went to was Louis C.K. in London.
Dope.
But in London.
Okay.
And we'd just done the whole phone thing, and it said on the tickets for Louis C.K. I guess in America, it's like you got to not. They're going to put your phone in that kind of thing, you know, where they what do you call that?
I don't know, like a little clip thing. And
they confiscate
little phone prison.
And they said they do that for his whole tour, but in England we're not sort of set up for that.
No.
So it's just like this woman walking around with a
Did you like the background for tonight? Not that he's gone too much into it, but what the background for tonight was that. Like, yeah, there you go. Because it's fight night. Ancient Rumble main event. Ankh versus Ankh. Eureka! It was a machine gun there. And boxers, you know. Boxers of ancient civilizations. I like it.
That she'd like, written on don't use your phone. Don't use your phone.
It's very British, isn't it? Please don't. Like,
please don't use your phone. Please. And we just didn't have the technology, I suppose, to do that.
Joe the Tour Rogan.
But Mothership Rogan. So
it was cool.
And off air, he's nice.
Yeah, off air, he's just honestly, he just seems like a really approachable guy. Like, really? I obviously I haven't met him and hung out with him properly, but from the brief period on and off record, he just strikes me as a guy that's really interested in all sorts of different topics and just happened to get massive with it. You know, had a career prior to that with Fear Factor and all of that, UFC, and but I just think that he's a guy. He's just he just
He's a
comes off as
guy.
a normal guy. And
You don't say he's a guy, really. There has been debates about that.
a lot of people like to put him down and just say, "Oh, he's controlled opposition," or he's doing, and it doesn't make sense.
He
to me,
is
dude.
controlled
Like,
op.
honestly, just from meeting him, maybe that could change over time. But from my perspective, he just seems like a guy that's been caught up in something mad. I wouldn't want to be Joe Rogan. It's a lot of influence and a lot of stress. Like even at my level, which isn't big, you know, the comments and the kind of like social media upkeep and the pressure of it, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I, you know, hats off to him for being like at the vanguard of this stuff. It's tough.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind having his money though.
Wouldn't mind having that bank balance. Yeah, definitely. And I, you know, that was my first business class flight. And thank you very much, Joe. You've ruined my flying experience.
Oh, he takes you on
for life.
business
Yeah,
flight.
dude, like, whew,
I got to get on Rogan
you got to get on Rogan
just for the business. flight.
It was a nice treat. Like I said, it's totally ruined all
Well,
my
Joe's
flying
team,
now,
if you're
but
listening, I'd
yeah,
love
get
that.
get that boy on.
Yeah, it should do. So, and you got a bit of a backlash from the UFO community after. What was that about?
Well, like I said, like, you know, I came up through the UFO community. I got a lot of the interviews early on with people that are now testifying in Congress and in the Senate. So I was, you know, with respect to the UFO community, I was one of the people. I was one of the researchers, one of the people they'd listen to. And I still am. And I still am a UFO.
People listen to you, really? Do they listen to you? When they listen to you, do they believe you? That's the point.
Researcher, and I still think that there's something very real going on underneath the minutiae and the noise and the weirdness. There is something
I mean, there's a few things I've agreed with them on, absolutely, definitely. But coming from a different perspective, though, you know?
on. But yeah, I got a lot of flack, although I would say actually I got a lot more support than I got flack, which has changed over the years from a ton of support for these guys to waning and waning and waning to the point where people are like, I don't trust them at all because you're right, Jay, they're not delivering on all the things they promised. You know, we were all expecting some pretty major disclosures to come through all of these Senate hearings and congressional hearings and David Grush and Tic Tac UFO and where's it all going to go? It's all simmered out very much. And a lot of money's been made along the way. And for me personally, because again, I am not like massively famous. And I said this to Joe, I think when it comes to the UFO subject, I'm the first guy you've had on that had to work his way through social media. Like Jeremy Corbell and these other guys who are quite big speakers in the UFO community, they're not looking at all of that because they don't need to.
UFO community, it's just stupid. So stupid. Should be UFO debunking community.
Whereas I'm an up and comer. So I was working my way through the relations in the UFO community and other research communities. And you start seeing
not just debunking, but find out what they actually are, you know? Because they're certainly not spaceships from another dimension, another planet, or another bloody galaxy.
People like Lou Elizondo and these guys that have come out from the government who are on X and do follow people, interact with certain people in the community, and have started to foster an environment which is very divisive and very toxic, where if you don't support what they've got to say, you are, you know, pariah, you are gone. And so I'm kind of lucky because I'm not a debunker, I'm not a skeptic, I'm not coming and going, you're all idiots for believing
That's why
in this
you
stuff.
should be a debunker. You should.
Like, no, I'm an experiencer. I've had weird things happen to me in my life. And so I think for a lot of people, it was kind of like, whoa, why is he coming out about this? But I've got good reasons
It might make you a bit more objective to what you're saying.
Of these people that are coming out through the government. So I said that on Joe Rogan. And as predicted, all of the acolytes that have been gathered over the last few years that have been, to be honest, the victims of social engineering and grooming from these people in terms of like bringing them into private signal chats, private Discord chats, making them feel like they're special, giving them attaboys, going on their little podcasts, like making them feel special.
I mean, that's true. That happens. He's right there. 100%. I agree with him there.
Special to the point where they're willing to be attack dogs for them online. And it's very serious stuff. We're not talking about like, trolling. There's trolling.
There you go.
We're talking about doxing.
We know this. Yeah, trolls. We've seen them doxing. They do all that crap. I knew he was going to come out with that. I knew that. And I seen the kind of had the direction it was going. I agree with him there totally. Trolls, man. Trolls.
People's families put.
These people. Where are they? Where are they? Let's get them. These people right here. You know, Glug Duckles? You remember Glug Duckles? Yeah? Old Glug Duckle? There you go. There they are. That's the king of the trolls, that one. King of the trolls. Glug Duckle.
putting, inappropriate images up online, trying to
Right.
get people arrested, looking for criminals.
Yes, getting them sacked. Getting them sacked, putting porn on their channels, taking over their channels, deleting their channels, making derogatory videos, getting involved in people's lives, relationships, causing enmity between people, that have been in relationships, stuff like that. Trolls are terrible, horrible.
Records, like really serious stuff. And all of these guys filter back up to the main influences from government in, this UFO subject. So as a researcher who was originally supportive and excited to see these guys coming out on the stage, and over the years getting more distrustful and more like, what is this? Why are you connected to this guy? Why are you giving
Glug Durko will always be defeated.
this guy a kind of a slap on the back when he's a toxic troll online? And it just got to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna say it on Joe Rogan. So I said it on Joe Rogan, and kind of people were like, you're either a son of a bitch or I love you for this. It's kind of divided people in half on that.
It sounds like the purity spirals that you get in everything.
It's what it felt like. It was like a COVID cult. I said that to Joe. I was like, I felt like I got into a COVID cult because it was like, you can't disagree with this narrative in any way. And if you do, we'll just expel you and forget all of the good research and good interviews you did prior to that. You're now an enemy. It's like, well, I don't like that. That's really weird woke politics kind of stuff, like that kind of Teamster stuff. And I'm not about it, like in politics, in anything. So yeah, like I've definitely been a divisive figure to some extent in the UFO community, but it wasn't really my intention. It was just to be honest. And my honest experiences, I went from trust to distrust with these guys.
Something my friend Konstantin Kisin often says, it's like, I'm not on your team. I'm not in your tribe.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's the thing, because people assume you are if you just give them one thing that's of their team, right? So I might say something that is of your team and I might actually believe that thing. But then to apply your entire team's agenda to me and get upset when I suddenly deviate from that is weird. And I was actually talking to my Uber driver about this on the way here, just saying about the decentralization of politics in terms of just how polarized it is now. You can't really be in the center and pick and choose. Well, actually, I agree with that and I agree with this. Like, nah, bro, you're either on this team or you're not.
Or we'll kill you.
Or we'll kill you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's a really dangerous place to be politically. But that's leaked into all sorts of parts of society, including the UFO subject. Like that just kind of proves how saturated of a problem it is, right? When it's gone down all the way into the super fringe niche communities where they're just fighting with each other. So
I think it's just everything has any group, any kind of belief. I try to do the opposite. So like, I'm very pro-Israel, for example, but I've got family members who go to pro-Palestine rallies, and it's just like, I'm not going to mention it. I love that guy, or
I hear that.
And why have I got to push people out of my group because they have different views to me? But this happened when I first started YouTube. I mean, I did stuff on cults and things, and this would happen to me all the time. And then it happened with for a few months I was doing stuff about Meghan Markle.
Okay.
And I didn't want to go with the theory that she's faked her baby. And so I was in like, you never get more vitriol than from your own team.
Oh, for sure. When they feel betrayed.
Yeah, because you didn't go as far as them.
Yeah.
They went, and it's like, maybe she did fake her baby, but I'm not going to start putting that out publicly unless I am 110% sure. Yeah. That's a big allegation to put out publicly when her kids could listen to that one day, and I don't actually know. Even if, there's a lot of compelling bits and pieces.
For sure.
I'm not going with that.
No, absolutely.
And then we had it with trans when I said something like trans, but it's like, if a guy wears a dress, I don't really care. But then there are some people who go nuts at you.
Like zero
tolerance. If he wears a dress, you don't care. Well, why? Why wouldn't you care? Why would a dude wear a dress? Yeah, COVID cult. I think he knows that COVID was a pandemic. I think he's saying like COVID cult as in the narrative that the media put out, that the government put out. I think that is what he's on about. I don't think he's on about people that don't believe in COVID like us. I think he's talking about from the other point of view.
It's Puritans, like basically.
I could be wrong though. I could be wrong, but I think he is.
Not like that. Like I'm like probably I'd imagine we'd agree in terms of like just express yourself, be yourself, but don't be hurting other people, or definitely don't be indoctrinating my children.
Yeah.
Don't be like forcing my kids to learn your idea of the world. Like that's not how this goes. Exactly. Like that's where I would sit on it. Other than that, you do what you want.
Libertarian.
Exactly. Old school libertarian is now like right wing, which is so weird to me.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. Look, I've got one more question for you, but first, where can people find your channel and all your stuff?
Yeah, I'm like keep it very simple. I just can't deal with all of these different platforms. So I'm on X at The Project Unity. And I'm on YouTube at Project Unity. And that's about it. Unless you want to go on my Patreon and help me grow, which would be much appreciated, which again is just Project Unity on Patreon. So always appreciate that. And you do get access to my Discord server, and you get early access to content when I put documentaries and interviews out. So it's a good way to help me, and it's a good way to get early access to content.
Yeah, you should get on the Substack. I think that's
Yeah, I just like, I mean, I'm potentially undiagnosed ADHD. I'm not 100% sure.
I was thinking that while you were talking.
Yeah.
Just because you said you go down these thing and you're so focused.
Yeah, I think I am. So like, I actually really struggle with like maybe a little bit of was it executive dysfunction disorder, where it's just like hard to do like the kind of what considered menial tasks in my mind, like emails and like all of the different things that are a part of this being a business. It's a struggle for me. I'm a creative type, you know what I mean? I just want to be able to create stuff. But yeah, like if you want to support me, it's much appreciated.
Wow. And who is a heretic you admire?
Terence McKenna, man, like that guy. He is kind of like an ethnobotanist and the psychedelic king of the 80s and 90s. He was one of the most gifted orators and speakers. He is like a poet who can translate incredibly complex ideas around spirit and science and wider reality and psychedelic experiences and how these things relate in a way that is just so poetic. And he was absolutely an outlier of his time. And he's been immortalized online in like hours and hours of lectures. He's got a very unique voice, quite nasally, but once you get used to him, he is someone you can have on in the background. And I guarantee you will gain IQ points just from having some background Terence on. So he's a heretic for me that I love and appreciate.
That's fascinating. Heretic. People, if you're watching on Spotify or Apple, hit that follow button, leave a comment, do all those things. And if you're on the YouTube, just keep watching because we'll have something very interesting for you right where my hand is now.
Oh, super. So that's just done now, guys. We'll get over to Rumble now. I'll play out with Harry and Matt and we'll get over to Rumble, watch the boxing and then the movie. I was just typing to Jaden's mum just to let her know that, and she let Jaden know that I can't get into the app at the minute. Hold on, wait, so I had to go. So I can't get on the app at the minute. That says ATM. I don't want to capital because that means like machine ATM. Minute to message him. I'm using another fine. It needs to be phone. PHONE. And the app won't even look man. Let's be right. I know that I'm not in here. I'm telling him he's always in my best. So everything, thank you. Hold on. Yeah, that's cool. Right, cool. Done. Sorted. Sent. Nice. Right. Let's play out the Harry Matt. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of comedy. Let's put the link for Rumble in if you're coming to watch the boxing and the new boxing movie. There's the link there, gadgets. And let's Harry Mack it. Hey Matt, what you say, do it,
I'm good. My name's Harry Mack. I'm out here doing freestyles for people. Yeah.
Tell you what, the downloaders now are getting rubbish. They want the downloaders won't let me download them in HD. All 360 nowadays. It's ridiculous. That's why I'm glad I got premium now.
You do the freestyle.
What's up, man?
Wait, no, I actually love this guy.
Oh, that's awesome. What's your name?
I'm Kobe.
Kobe, nice to meet you.
Wait, I'm like, you're supposed to like give me the words and then you like.
Yeah, you guys want to hear a freestyle?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, dope. And let's say this: no food, no animals. We'll dig a little deeper.
Bro, come on, get in the
Yeah. Oh, did you win a national spelling bee?
I did not win a national
you. But did you participate?
like 6 years ago. That was crazy cool.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
We gotta come up with words.
Yeah, what you got? Radiator. I love that.
I'm gonna do satellite.
Satellite. Okay, radiator, satellite. What else? Rolex. Yes, I have so many. No, I don't have it. Skyscraper. Yeah, let's get one more. Paddock. That's a competitor with
That's like a
Rolex.
watch. There's like 2. It's just up there. We can't do 2.
Yeah, not you. Thank you. You've seen the videos.
One more?
Yeah, let's get one more.
Tunnel?
Tunnel? I love it. Radiator, satellite, Rolex, and Patek Philippe, skyscraper, and tunnel. Those are the words, yeah? All right, let's do it. Let me find a beat for this.
Yeah, it's so tall, bro. He's so tall.
Oh, thank you, man. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Hey, up at the top of the dome, whenever I spit, it's absurd. He was like, wait, I seen your vids, we wanna give you some words. I'm gonna stop you in your paces. When I rhyme, I will amaze kids. Every time he raps like this, a whole new trail with he blazes. I do whatever I feel. When you this nice, you got crazy haters. I'm so fly, man, I need to rock some aviators. They told the Mac that he should quit. I said, maybe later. As of now, I keep providing heat like a radiator. H-Mac be flowing up the top of the dome. Yeah, every single time I spit, y'all know I'm locked in the zone. When I be radiating this energy, they feeling the vibes. I radiate positivity while killing it live. I said I radiate good vibes, put smiles on their faces. I'm spreading joy when I'm rhyming in these different places. Y'all know when I be rhyming, they know just what the case is. I'm stringing all my words together just like your bracelets. Yeah, I'm calling anything I can see. These rappers wanna interrupt, it don't mean nothing to me. Cause every time that I rhyme my beat, I prove the Mac is hype. Rapping tight, I orbit like a satellite. Yeah, every single time I rhyme, I prove that my brain gigantic. Ideas are the satellites, my head is the planet. I pull them in, y'all know when I rap, I get swole. I said for ideas, my brain has gravitational pull. Bring them closer, y'all know that the Mac will control your vision. Sun at the center, right now we like the solar system. Yeah, y'all are the planets, you orbiting around the heat source. The sun, the ultimate radiator. Well, of course, I gotta bring it back right there to where we started. As one of the illest at the top of the dome, every Mac gonna be regarded. Y'all know that I make it happen, I'ma do it now, other rappers can go next. Rhyme tight, shine bright, I should be rocking a Rolex. Even without it, I know the time. H-Mac off the top of the brain. Ay, Rolex on my wrist, I need that plain Jane. Yeah, they love the way I'm rapping on beats. I'm snapping with heat, might have to cop the Patek Philippe. All watch brands, y'all know Harry Mack is on a mission. Rolex to Patek Philippe, it's friendly competition. MCs try to step to me, can't nobody rap like me. Every time that I wreck the beat, I'm the MC they expect to see. Blowing up the top of the brain when I get loose, everybody knows that I'm quite major. Y'all know I came through the ball and I stand and toss something like a skyscraper. And every time I rhyme, the people know it's gritty, show no pity. Plenty skyscrapers in New York City, yeah. But when I start rhyming, I'm deep up in my feelings. Somehow I imagine I'm taller than all the buildings. I don't do it for ego, I do it for the confidence to overcome the self-consciousness, and that's some honest shit. Yeah, back in the day, I would operate from fear. Back in the day, my future path didn't seem clear. Cause in my ear, a negative voice was screaming. I had to find a way to brush off all of the demons. I recognized if I just focus on putting smiles on the faces of strangers while out here kicking freestyles, maybe that can be the catalyst to spread a bit of joy. And now every time I pop up, I got fans making noise. Random people be surrounded when the Mac drops a bomb verse. Any corner I'm on, y'all know I turn it to a concert. I'ma make it happen, one of the illest, what they telling me. Congratulations, bro, you should've won that spelling bee. Real talk, make them go mad. Hey, man, freestyle master of the vocab. Yeah, my own story, what I tell about. My name's Harry Mack, H-A-R-R-Y-M-A-C-K, how you spell it out. If they ever ask you, I'ma keep it mad true. Y'all know that I'm winning anytime I'm in a battle. Way too dope to be humble, I leave my haters disgruntled. The thunder pounds from the underground, I'm rapping in a tunnel, goddamn. Y'all know that my freestyle's too astounding. Crushing obstacles, I punch a tunnel through a mountain. Can't nobody stop me, rocking it for y'all. If it's not a mountain, I guess I'll be hopping over walls. I'll be doing the impossible and hopping over obstacles. Quick to put a competitor up in the hospital. No editor, I send it straight to your brain. Make some noise if y'all are rocking with these freestyle flames.
Yo, let's go. Nice. All right, Gadgies. I'll see you in Rumble for box for Friday night in the movie. If you're not joining us, thanks for joining us, yeah. And if you're not coming to the wrong way, yeah, I will see you tomorrow. Cheers, Gadgies. Love yous. Hail the sunset's free. It's free indeed. Ta-ta. See you on the Rumble side.